Facebook, what is going on? Radical Hughes out here in beautiful Bali. Listen, guys, gonna make this super short and sweet. I'm posting a 3.5 hour masterclass that we just did a couple days ago, and some of you in this Facebook know how amazing it was. Literally, we literally talked about the business credit bureau secrets, secret bureaus that you've never heard about, secret reporting agencies that you've never heard about. Literally, it was a call for the decades. I don't know if I've ever seen a business credit call like that. But listen, we're saying all this to say this. I'm dropping this call for 72 hours only. 72 hours, and I'm deleting it. Okay, I'm literally deleting it. Okay, the reason being is because we're going to be having another call this coming Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern time and at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and that is only going to be for my mentees. So we're going to give all of you the opportunity to get into this mentorship. I still haven't raised the price yet. It's still $1,500 or $500 a month for 3 months. Okay, so you want to get into the damn room. Okay, we're talking SBA funding, we're talking new funding for startups, we're talking about the best ways to get funding as a 2-year old business and higher. We're talking e-com funding. We're talking trucking funding. We're talking real estate investing. We're talking literally 3 to 3.5, if not 4 hours of straight funding frameworks, funding sequences. And no, we're not talking about stupid 0% business credit cards where a funding company gets 10%. We are not even funding companies. IrvOfficial and myself are literally educators and creators that talk about this information that the gatekeepers and that the funding companies don't want you to know about. Literally, why pay 10%? Why pay 20%? Why pay 5% when you can have this information and fish for yourself? So we're going to give you the information that you don't know what you don't know. Okay, get in the damn room, text me at the number below and say, I want in, buy right now, and I will send you an invoice in full or 3 months at 500, okay? And we'll get you into the program. You'll have access to all of the previous material as well. This is not something that you want to sleep on. This is not something that you want to miss. I've never done this before. And listen, this next call is only for mentees. Get in the room, show up to blow up. This is literally a private mastermind that you've never seen before. Close to 600 mentees in the room, over 50 mentorship calls already done. Lifetime access, no upsell, no funding back percentage shit. Okay, literally, this is the stuff that you've always wanted, always prayed for, always hoped for. Get in the room, be blessed. $500 a month for 3 months, no interest, no extra fees, $1,500 in full. It'll put you in for this week's call. Check out this call, be blessed. I hope it helps you whether you can afford my program or not. I love you. Thank you so much for your support. And let's get it. Radical Nation.
To be breaking down the business credit bureaus and some secrets that I want to let out of the bag for you guys. Now, who is this for? This is for you if you want to build up your business credit scores the right way. And I should add your business credit profile the right way, not just your scores. If you want to purchase things like vehicles or equipment, EIN only through your business credit, and you want to build your business credit profile faster with the exact trade lines. Now, full disclosure, before I continue, I literally set this up in terms of this presentation. I've never given it anywhere else. So it's not something that you guys—
Let's go, y'all. Let's go, man. Let's do it.
I told Rad, dude, I'm excited because there was a lot of things that I had to condense to really make the final cut into today's presentation for you guys. Because again, I don't want to draw this out, but also I don't want to leave any information out. And so I did my best to, again, bring you guys the absolute best of what I think you guys need, especially with where you're at. I was kind of gauging the room last week. And so I literally curated this week just for you guys. So you're getting it in real time for the first time. So if you see me looking down, I'm reading off of some of the things that I have on there is because I want to hit certain points. So with this, you are going to gain with our time together how to clean up and structure and optimize your business credit profile. Notice that I said cleaning and optimizing your business credit profile, not your personal credit profile, because a lot of us already have an idea of how to clean and optimize our personal credit profiles, but that's not really spoken too much of over on the business side. The best trade lines to use to build up your business credit profiles, how to create business credit out of virtually thin air. And yes, if you're wondering, it is going to be beginner friendly. Business credit pitfalls that I want you guys to avoid at all costs. If you guys can avoid these business credit pitfalls, it's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of heartache. Which business credit bureaus, excuse me, I'm already losing my voice. I'm so excited. Which business credit bureaus you should focus on for your business. So I think we have real estate, trucking. Let me know in the chats. I know for a fact we have real estate, trucking, construction. We have some up and coming content creators, which I love to see. I'm seeing some of your posts over on school, which is freaking fantastic. The best business credit cards and accounts to build with. I'm going to be giving you guys all of that. The invisible hand, or at least what I like to call, right, the invisible hand that, again, isn't spoken of often, which is going to be UCC filings. We're going to break down how to find that and how to get those removed. And again, some nice course of action that you guys can take and so much more. Now, again, same thing that I said last week, which is going to be a common thread this entire series, this entire mastermind on your time with me is I want you guys to leave each and every single session empowered. And I want you guys to leave each and every single session capable that you can actually do this, which is why I'm taking time out of my schedule, out of my business to jump on here, pour into you guys, because I know what it's like to run a small business. Like we're scaling one. Like I'm out there with you guys, right? I'm not shouting at you from the mountaintop. I'm in there. I'm constantly interviewing for new people. I'm constantly having to fire people. I'm constantly having to revamp our product, right? We're watching our budget. We're watching our top line. We're watching our bottom line. So I get it. I understand the stresses that comes with it. And because of that, I can relate to you guys and know exactly where you're at, because again, I haven't just been there, but I'm also going through it in different stages of my own, some kind of flow happening into a business bank account. Look, make it legit. You're in business to make a lot of money. Sometimes when we're playing small ball, sometimes when we're playing scared, we're actually blocking ourselves from really taking our businesses to the next level. NAICS codes, how your business is classified, those are also known as industry codes. Those are going to be important. And those are important, especially when we get later on in today's masterclass on how to reclassify your business, because this is how banks are going to bucket you specific to the industry that you're in, and then they're going to size you up to other businesses inside of your same category, which is huge, because if you're classified incorrectly, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Again, I just want to give that quick catch up, and because I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it, because we have a lot of ground to cover today. Now, the main players that we are going to be breaking down in this session is going to be Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, Small Business Financial Exchange, and Creditsafe. So let me know in the chats, like, out of all of these right here, how many have you guys heard of? If you haven't heard of any, drop a 0. If you've heard of 2 of them, drop a 2. If you've heard of all of them, drop a 5. If you've heard of maybe 3 of them, drop a 3. Let me know in the chats. Let me know in the chats. And Rad, be my eyes on that. What are they saying?
I'm DJ Rad, man. I'm DJ Rad.
DJ Rad. What do we got out there?
I see a lot of 3s and 4s. There's some 5s out there, but I feel a lot of people probably heard of the big 3, right? You know, Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, right? 2 of them are on the personal side. Dun and Bradstreet, obviously, on the business side. But I know a lot of people haven't heard of Creditsafe. If people are honest, don't lie. Nobody don't lie. You can't tell us who reports to it, right? And then small business, the SBFE. I think some people are aware of it, but most people are unaware of SBFE and Creditsafe. Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, I'll tell you what, whether you're at a 1, a 0, or a 5, you're going to get to know all of them and a heck of a lot better today. So you want to build up all of these profiles. I don't care what you've heard out there. I don't care what someone has said. Hey, just Dun and Bradstreet, or hey, just worry about Experian. Hey, just worry about Equifax. I want you to make a vow, not to me, not to Rad, not to whoever you're watching this with. Make a vow to yourself and to your business that you are going to spend time building out each of your, what I call the big 3, your Experian, your business, your Experian, Equifax, and your Dun and Bradstreet. Now, I'm going to add Creditsafe on there for a couple of reasons that I'm going to give you guys as this presentation goes on. The reason why I'm going to give you Creditsafe, spoiler alert, is they're starting to grow here in the US. They're really big overseas, over in Europe, over in the UK, but they're starting to really grow here in the US. And it's one that we've been watching really closely, because now banks and lenders are starting to tap into Creditsafe a lot more. And so I'm obviously going to give you guys some accounts that you can add to your profiles to help build that up and help strengthen up your profiles, but don't neglect any of these profiles, because you never know which one the bank is going to pull from in addition to your personal credit. Because Rad, that's another thing that I often hear is, well, I can just personally guarantee everything. And we actually had a call with a relationship manager that we brought in, which is a business banker, one of the best in the country for US Bank or from US Bank. He spoke in one of my calls on Tuesday, actually Tuesday that just passed. And I have some clients that were on that call. So if you guys are on here, you guys kind of back this up. If you were on that call, he mentions, hey, yes, we're taking a look at personal credit, but we're also now starting to have some of these merger scores where we're also taking a look at your business credit profiles. And so he specifically mentioned Experian and Dun and Bradstreet, which I thought was interesting because a lot of us think that, well, Dun and Bradstreet isn't normally checked by banks, but banks are starting to, especially more now, check Dun and Bradstreet, at least the way that your profile is aligned, and they're also checking your Experian and your Equifax. So starting out with the big boy, right? The head honcho, it's going to be Dun and Bradstreet, which is the largest business credit bureau. Now, most suppliers, most leasing companies are going to use the data that's on here because it's just shared just across the entire network because they have so much data on our businesses, right?
Real quick, Irv.
Go ahead.
Real quick. I want to make this. I want to make sure people are awake right now because we're gonna dive into some super juicy stuff, right?
Go ahead.
So let's see this on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm gonna say this on a scale of 1 to 10. How well is your Dun and Bradstreet built out? Be honest, because we need to know what to focus on as well.
Yes. Good
1 to
question.
10. Okay, we have a 0. We have 1. We have 0. We have 1, 0, 1, 8, 1, 3, 0, 0. Okay, we have a lot of work to do with Dun and Bradstreet. Okay, I'm going to gauge the room through this. Okay, so when we get to each bureau, I'm going to gauge the room with honest answers. So that way Irv can know what to speak more about on each slide as well. So if he has additional thoughts, he's just going to pour into you guys. Guys, we are not gatekeeping here. We are literally pouring this all into you, okay? So it's very important that when I ask a question, you give an honest answer so that way I can read the room and we can focus on what people really need to know about, okay? So we have a lot of people with 0, 1, and 2, and 3, okay? So there's a lot of people failing class in Dun and Bradstreet. So preach to them, Irv. Preach to them.
Beautiful. I love to see it. Let's make sure that we can kind of help them out and you guys can get out of that because you can. Power's in your hands. And so with Dun and Bradstreet, most suppliers, lenders, and leasing companies are going to be using their data because this is where most of that data is fed. So whenever you go out and you're trying to get a commercial building, let's say leased out under your business's name, they're going to be pulling your Dun and Bradstreet report. Now, it's not like, here's the other thing. I want you to have a clear separation in your mind of when you think somebody checking your credit, how it operates in the personal realm or in the personal credit world versus in the business credit world. In the personal credit world, you have to get notified, meaning you are going to get hit with the hard inquiry, right? If your credit is frozen, especially for those of us that have been around the block a couple of times, sometimes you freeze your credit so that no one can pull it. Like when you go out to a bank, when you're applying for a credit card, right? But what ends up happening is they ask you to unfreeze it so that they can make that, so they can look into a real time or snapshot in real time on your personal credit. Business credit, we don't have the same laws and rules that govern us in personal credit. It's more like the wild, wild west in the business credit world. The reason why I set it up this way is because if you are applying for a, let's say for a lease or for a vendor account or for a business credit card, and they go to pull Experian business side, or they go to pull your Equifax commercial, or the bank or the lender or the leasing company goes to pull your Dun and Bradstreet reports, you'll get notified once it's been done, but they don't actually have to tell you, is where I'm getting at. Which is why, again, I want you guys to build this out and really have that credit worthiness that we're going to be talking about here in today's session, because you want to have something known as a DUNS number, which is a 9-digit number. Now, I don't want you to confuse this with your EIN. Your EIN is what you get from the IRS. That's like the social security number for your business. Your DUNS number is what you get and what you apply for directly with Dun and Bradstreet so that you can start getting credits specifically at that agency. That's how big they are. They're so big in their database that every single business has to register and have their own DUNS number in order for them to start reporting some of those trade lines that you're going to be adding, right? So if you're wondering, okay, cool, got that down. I hear it's important. I'm filling in class right now. How can I get access to a DUNS number for free? So I'm so glad that you asked, because I'm going to give it to you here. So the first thing that you would want to do is you would want to go to dnb.com or dunandbradstreet.com. quick Google search, you can't miss it. The page needs to look like this. Now, the arrow indicates where you need to go. So you're going to hit where it says Dun's number, and then it's going to prompt you with this little drop-down menu right here. From there, you are then going to click where it says get a Dun's number. Now, I'm going to speak to two kinds of people coming up in these next couple slides, so pay very close attention. The first group of us is for those of us who possibly already have a business. And so what you want to do is you are going to submit, let's say I did a mock here. So I put zip code where our business is located, and then I put ABC, right? If your business pops up or if you see it, you'll click on it and then it'll say, congratulations, your business already has a Dun's number. Now, if you've been in business for some time, you have your EIN, you've already been doing some business, you have some business credit cards, you have some vendor accounts, odds are, and as a matter of fact, I'll say 9 times out of 10, you most likely already have a Dun's number and you don't even know it. I can't tell you how many people I speak to day in, day out where, yeah, Irv, I've been in business since like 2015. Yeah, I've made a couple purchases here and there, you know, using my LLC, using my S Corp. But, you know, I haven't built up any credit. And then when I say, hey, well, you know what, you may want to go to Dun and Bradstreet and see if your business is already registered, because as soon as you make one purchase, it's already reporting over on that side through your business. You probably don't even know it because it's most likely reporting as a trade reference, but that's enough for them to, again, open up a file for your business over on that side, which is going to save you a lot of time because now you don't have to wait, you know, 15, 21, 30 days, however long it's taking for you to get a Dun's number. Now, the good thing about this is that if your company appears, that means that you already have an active Dun's number. With that active Dun's number, most likely you already have a score. Now, some people are pleasantly surprised and they say, wow, you know, out of 100, because it ranges from 1 to 100, 100 being excellent, 1 being poor, they'll say, wait a minute, I got like a 70. I haven't even really done anything to build this out. Congratulations. You have some, you know, you're on the right track for building out your business credit. And then some people, they say, this kind of sucks. Like I have a failing score. I'm at a 10 or I'm at a 20, or I had no idea that some of these accounts were even reporting over to Dun and Bradstreet. But the good thing with this is that, again, you are already establishing, again, for those of us that already have, like if you were to do that search right now, you're already on your way. Like you've cut that time in half of how long it takes for you to get that Dun's number, and you're one step ahead. But what about those of us that don't have it, right? What about those of us that are on the call and we're just thinking, wait a minute, dude, I didn't see my business. I've never even seen this website in my life. You're going to have that feature right there. So I always want you to first search for your business, even if you don't have an account with Dun and Bradstreet, just because you never know. If you have the matching account, again, you're pleasantly surprised and it says, hey, your account pops up. At that point, claim the account. They'll ask you for a couple things about you, your business, you know, your driver's license, copy of your LLC, your EIN. You may need to speak to an account manager on the phone. That's totally fine. Boom, you're in. But if you don't, and you've searched your business, at that point, you would just go ahead and select, I don't see my business. And then you would create your account and you would register your business. Now, I usually recommend just go with the free credit signal. Now, if you have no idea what credit signal is, this is essentially where you're able to monitor your credit score with Dun and Bradstreet. Now, I'm going to give you guys some additional resources later on, but this is going to give you the most in-depth, scoring tool specific to them, because they're the ones that are hosting your data versus a third-party source. So yes, every now and again, we're going to check out other places like Nav. Every now and again, we'll check out TOEFL, right? But I always like to go directly to the source, because that's exactly where it's being reported first, and it's not being diluted into a third-party software. Does that make sense so far, you guys? Let me know in the chats. Rad, how we doing so far with time, bro? We good? Rad, did he fall asleep on me? Where you at?
No, man, I had my mic muted first. No, we're doing amazing, bro. Keep at it.
Good deal. Look, we have a lot of ground to cover, and every now and again, I'm going to temperature check you guys because it is a lot of information, right? We're slowly starting to build it up. I promise you, especially for those of us that are a bit more experienced, it's going to get juicier and juicier. So it's going to start building up. And so a pro tip for you is the most important thing for now is that you at least have that 9-digit Dun's number and have an active file prior. Notice that I put an underline. Notice that I made it in bold. Prior to setting up accounts and making purchases. You want to have that 9-digit number first, which again is your DUNS number, prior to going out to Granger, prior to going out and applying for Uline, prior to going out and applying for fleet cards, prior to going out to Sam's Club, right? You want to have that because now it's going to, again, speed up your process and you're not having to search to see, okay, what do I need to find first? I'm giving you the first place that you need to go, which is to set up your DUNS number with Dun and Bradstreet. But now things start to get, I don't want to use the word complicated, but now things start to get a bit interesting because Experian and Equifax aren't as clear cut as Dun and Bradstreet is. I wish they were, but they're not. Here's what I mean. Experian is widely, and when I say widely, I mean widely used by banks, leasing companies, fintech credit card companies to determine your rates, your terms, and the approval amounts. So for those of us that are saying, okay, well, I want to know more about funding plays, I want to know more about how I can fund my business, you're going to want to really pay a close eye on Experian and on Equifax, because this is where the majority of financial accounts are going to report versus vendor accounts, right? Again, quick recap. Your vendor account is going to be things like your net 30s. Those are your suppliers. Those are things like Uline. So let's say if you buy $100 worth of paper for your business, that's going to be on a net 30, meaning you have 30 days from the day that you were invoiced to make that payment. When we're speaking about vendor accounts, that's business credit cards, fleet cards, revolving lines of credit, revolving business credit cards, loans for your business, vehicles. All of that is referred to as financial accounts for your business. Now, Experian Business Credit Report and the score is the most important if you're looking for, again, bank loans, credit cards, and vehicle financing for your business. Now, a major difference, though, is this. It does not allow you to self-report. And I'm going right here on the fourth one. It does not allow you to self-report trade references like Dun and Bradstreet. The only way to get listed with them is by having the creditor and the supplier or the supplier furnish your data for you directly. And I'm going to give you like a little tip on how to self-publish or self-report your own data, because there is a difference between trade references and trade experiences. When you are on the Experian website, and this again is over on the business side, you want to fill in your business information, right? The same way that we would do this over with Dun and Bradstreet is the same way that we're doing it now with Experian. And so we want to first see, okay, is there anything that's already on there for my business? Because remember, there's no self-reporting. So that means that if you've already had a business for some time, or if you established a business, you made some purchases through your LLC or through your business, or you have some business credit cards, it's a possibility that there could be something reporting for your business. And so this is how you would search it. You would go right on the Experian Business website, right? And then what you would do is you would go ahead and click where it says proceed if you find your business or if your business is listed. If your business is not listed, then that means that there's nothing reporting just yet. And so there's no business profile built up just yet for your business. Now, the reason why I had this arrow pointing at with trade lines is because it's exactly as it reads. Is let's say you do find your business and you're thinking to yourself, okay, wait, I've been in business for a couple of years now. I got a couple of trade lines reporting, a couple of net 30s, net 45s, I have a couple of business credit cards. I took a couple of loans out for, let's say, my trucking business or for my construction business. Surely something must be reporting, right? They will tell you off the rip, like off the bat, even before you click on your profile to open it up and to claim it, that yes, there are trade lines already attached to your profile. Now, here's like again, split in the road. If your business is listed, again, if your company is listed, then your Experian credit report is available for you to view for accuracy. But if it's not listed, then you'll have to wait for you to make a payment and for it to get reported in order for you to see that get listed on there. Now, again, you guys are going to want to do what you're going to want to do with your businesses, but I recommend going ahead and doing your business like a good service and getting yourself the business credit advantage. The reason why I recommend this is because you're going to get access to unlimited reports. You're going to get access to unlimited alerts if anything changes on your credit, if something gets reported, if something gets removed, if a UCC filing hits out of nowhere, you're going to get it on the dime, versus having to wait if you guys are using more of like a third-party type of software, right? For it having to wait, okay, wait a minute, is this accurate? Is this not accurate? Okay, did they scrub this data? No, again, you're getting it directly from the source. And again, that is my pro tip that I have for you is you want to do your business a strong service, get yourself the business credit advantage. Yes, it's an investment. Yes, it's $189 a year. If you're only really wanting to build out one credit profile to start out with, I highly recommend it. Because remember, over with the credit signal with Dun and Bradstreet, I recommend the free one anyways. And so if you can't cough up $189 a year for this right here, then you're just gonna have to find budget cuts somewhere else in your business. But again, it is a fantastic tool for those of us that are looking to build. Now, like I mentioned earlier, if your business is not listed with Experian just yet, you'll have to wait for credit to start reporting on there in order for that profile to open up. Now, most of the companies that you're probably doing business with are reporting on a net 10, net 15, net 30, net 45, or net 55 basis. And sometimes it takes, especially if you're getting off this call and you're going out there and you're starting to make those purchases on the net accounts, it's going to take 2, possibly 3 rounds in order for that to even start reporting. One of the things that I often hear is, hey, I got access to these revolving accounts, not revolving accounts, to these net accounts, or even some revolving accounts, and I don't see them reporting anywhere. Like, what gives? The reason for that is sometimes you haven't given it enough time for it to actually report over to the credit bureaus. That's the first thing. And second thing is you actually want to make sure that you have an account that reports over to those credit bureaus. Let's head over to Equifax, though. And by the way, we're not done with Dun and Bradstreet or Experian. I'm still laying out the foundation for you guys. So I just want you guys to know it. Like we're going to go a little bit deeper. I'm just slowly working us in, slowly massaging it. So that way, you know, we're not bruised up. We're not intimidated by all of this information coming at us all at once. Because I really want us to understand how these companies are using your data. Rad, what was it that you said last week?
What was that?
You're not wealthy or you haven't made the money yet because you don't understand data. What was it that you said, bro?
Oh, yeah. Data is the new oil. If you knew all the information that you needed to know, then you would be implementing what you needed to know. Like, yes. if you know it and you're not implementing it, you really don't know it. You just know it by thought and theory, and you're just playing around with it. But what you know and what you actually believe and what you actually walk out is going to transform your life. If you knew everything that Bill Gates knew, if you knew everything that Elon Musk knew, if whoever your person is in business, if you actually knew what they knew, your life would not be the same. Data is the new oil. That is why companies are paying all the time for your data to use technology to market to you and ads and bombard you with intelligence and all types of stuff. Guys, data is the new oil. So literally, and I also say this, your network is your net worth. If you have no network, you have no net worth, right? And so that's part of the reason why these type of communities are so powerful, is because we only know what we know. And we're all in our process. And there's something super powerful when you get into a room with people of like mind, like interests, one accord, and you can post a question or you can ask a question, and you have a group of people that are on the same trajectory as you at different stages of life and business and can assist you and help you, because it doesn't matter where you're at. There's always somebody that knows more and knows less, period. You're an expert. Okay. You're already an expert. You're an expert to somebody else, and somebody else can learn from you as well. So don't discredit your information right now. Just keep seeking to build precept on precept, information on information, right? So yeah, man, how are we liking the call so far? We haven't even gotten started. He's just getting his feet wet. How is the call so far? Let us know in the chat. Throw some emojis if you guys like it. Throw some fire emojis if this is helping you guys, okay? Because we're going to dive deep here, okay? He's still on Dun and Bradstreet. He's just laying the foundation. Okay. Keep rocking, Irv. I'm trying to give you like water breaks because this is going to be a huge call.
Yeah, no, I got you. So look, when it comes to Equifax, right? The foundation with Equifax is that over 80 million companies are listed with them in their database. So this is another one similar to Experian, similar to Equifax, one that we have to pay attention to. Now, currently, the most banks in the U.S. share their data with Equifax Small Business on their business loans and business credit cards. I'm going to say that again. Currently, the most banks in the U.S. share their data with Equifax Small Business and on their business loans and business credit cards. And this is probably why I often hear Equifax is my hardest score to build. Let me know in the chats which one's been your hardest score to build. It's usually, from what I hear, Experian or Equifax. Let me know in the chats which one is the hardest score for you to build. Experian or Equifax? What do we got?
I'm seeing Equifax. I'm seeing both.
Yeah, it's usually both. It's rarely ever Dun and Bradstreet. And if it's Dun and Bradstreet, something is horribly wrong. Usually this is the first roadblock that people hit when they're building business credit. It's Equifax or Experian. Hands down. And so they have the largest banking footprint in commercial lending. And so the reason why that's important is since they have the largest footprint along with Experian, they're going to pay very close attention to the type of accounts that are being reported over on their side. Here's why. Why would I want to take a look at a ton of vendor accounts on someone's profile if I'm going to be extending them out a revolving line of credit? It's not the same kind of credit. It's not the same kind of credit. That's why a lot of people get frustrated where they say, well, hey, look, I got like 50 vendor accounts. Experian or Equifax hasn't moved yet. Well, that's why you have a ton of vendor accounts. We're not talking about financial accounts. Those are graded and those are weighted completely differently, which is why I had it in asterisks here and highlighted. This can be the most difficult to get listed since Equifax is similar to Experian Business. The only way to get listed is directly through a creditor, a lender, or a vendor, or business that supplies a payment directly to Equifax Small Business. Now, both Equifax and Experian Small Business will give you failing scores. They don't play that. They are ruthless. There is no mercy with Equifax or Experian. No score to them is as good or equal to failing score. Dun and Bradstreet, on the other hand, if there's nothing reporting just yet, sometimes they'll just put on their like blank. It doesn't exist. It's just your profile, but there's no score. With them, as soon as your account hits and just one account or no accounts, and they're like you're in their database and there's nothing reporting, that's as good as 0 to them. And that's going to hurt a lot of us on the back end when we try to go out for a business credit card or business funding, especially as these algorithms start to change. Have a lot of us gotten away with being able to PG? 100%. 100%. But the way that the banks are starting to shift now, you're going to want to have both in place. You're going to want to have your personal credit in place. I'm never going to speak against personal credit because personal credit is the foundation. I don't care what anyone says. And you're also going to want to have your business credit in place, business credit the right way, with even accounts spread out amongst financial and business. Now, how do you access your business credit report with Equifax? Little spoiler alert here is you can't, right? Or at least not the way that they used to have it. Right before the pandemic happened or during the pandemic, you were able to essentially go in there. They had a portal where you could have gone in, you could have filled out your information, and you could have just pulled up your report, right? So now there's essentially 2 ways that you can do it. Number one is you can just simply call them. I have the number for you right on there. So you can call, speak to a rep. That's 1-800-727-8495, where you can speak to a rep directly at Equifax Small Business. Don't confuse this with Equifax, the personal side. This is on the commercial division that we want to speak to. And then option 2 is they do have a form, but it's a callback form. So you can get that right on Equifax.com/business/support. You can fill that form out and then they'll give you a call. And then from there, you can speak with them about getting your hands on a business credit report. Now, pro tip, here's like a little loophole, a little sidestep with Equifax. Remember what I mentioned earlier, where you're not necessarily going to be alerted which credit bureau they pull from. They're not going to tell you. They're not going to send you or they're going to give you a notification, but they don't actually have to tell you where they're going to pull from like they would with like the little box that you check for a hard inquiry. It's totally different here. I want you to know this because if for whatever reason you applied for a business trade line, a loan, a credit card and they happen to have pulled your Equifax on the business side, you are entitled, in the last 60 days, you are entitled to a free report. Now, it doesn't matter if you got accepted, and it does not matter if you got declined. You're entitled to a free report. I would like to get my hands on that free report if I were you. Reason for that, because now I can see the exact breakdown of my score. I can see what payments are being made or reported over to them. I can see something called days beyond terms, which means how many days beyond the term. So let's say if it was a net 30 and I made a payment on the 33rd day, right? If I made a payment on that net 30 on the 33rd day, that means that I'm 3 days beyond terms, which I'm technically now 3 days late on my payments over with the business credit bureaus. Versus in the in the personal credit world, we usually have to wait an entire 30-day cycle before it actually hits our account. We have that 30-day grace period, we like to call it. The business credit world, it's fast. It's boom, 24 hours late, 1 day beyond terms. 2 days late, 2 days beyond terms, and so on and so forth. And that starts to plummet your score the more days you're late. But again, that's a pro tip for you, is if you already applied for some type of loan, credit card, and they happen to have pulled Equifax on the business side, you're entitled to that report over the last 60 days. Again, if you're wondering, Irv, how the heck can I check that? You know, if you have NAV, it'll send you an alert. That's like one of the only reasons why I like NAV, is because they're at least kind of like on it if someone pulls your report. Other than that, they're not the most reliable for the scoring, but they will at least give you that alert. Small Business Financial Exchange. I was excited to get into this one because a lot of people think that Small Business Financial Exchange is a credit bureau. How many of you guys were taught or think that Small Business Financial Exchange is a credit bureau? And don't lie. And you can put it on whoever taught it to you, right? They say, hey, Small Business Financial Exchange collects the data and they are a business credit bureau as well. They are not a business credit bureau.
Bro, the guru's been lying to him, bro.
Now, what did they say in the chat before I give them that page? What did they say in the chat?
They didn't know, bro. They didn't know what they didn't know. No, man. Okay. The Small Business Financial Exchange, man.
Well, I don't blame them.
SBFE, baby.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them because a lot of the information that we gave was still surface level. Like, we haven't even gone deep yet, right? And so with the Small Business Financial Exchange, it's actually a trade association. It is not a commercial credit bureau. I will say that again. The Small Business Financial Exchange, the SBFE, is not a commercial credit bureau. They are a trade association, which means they have members who are their clients. We are not their clients, as we are with, let's say, Experian or with Equifax or with TransUnion. If we're talking about the personal side, we're technically their clients because we can pay them to see a report. We can pay them to get access to our information. We can't necessarily do that with the SBFE, which kind of sucks because they have so much power over how much data is collected for small businesses. They've been around since 2001. Over 93 million small businesses are currently inside of their database. That's huge because they do a lot of cross-sharing with other companies in their network, like LexisNexis. I know you guys have heard of them because they also do a lot of reporting and a lot of data furnishing for us over on the personal side. Guess what? They're also a big player here in the business world. Dun and Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. All of these guys communicate with each other. And a lot of them are getting their information from the Small Business Financial Exchange. So if you're wondering, okay, if my business credit card isn't reporting over to the personal credit bureaus, where's it going? Let that sit for a second. They're getting this information amongst each other. And so it technically still is reporting. You're just not seeing it, which is why if you don't know what you don't know, it could be as effective as knowing something and not doing anything about it, right?
You can't play the game and win the game if you don't know the rules. I'll say it again. You can't play the game and win the game if you don't know the rules. You got to know the rules of the game.
Yep. Got to know the rules of the game. And so the Small Business Financial Exchange, some of the biggest players that you've probably seen are in their network: PNC, American Express, Capital One, and Wells Fargo. I don't know about you guys, but I've heard of all of those banks. I mean, have you ever heard of those banks before?
Yeah, I just heard of LexisNexis. You know, that's the only one I've heard of. Joking, of course, people. Joking,
Okay.
of course.
I know you are. I know you are. But this is major because this is what type of data they're gathering on us. Business name, type of entity, DBA. How are we doing business? Doing business as what? Our name. Classification codes, business address, phone numbers attached to the accounts, your employer ID, which again is a social for your business, individual and business guarantor information, all partners, all of them. That means even the crooked partner that you've been trying to get off of your articles of organization. Yeah, even that person. All that information goes directly to the SBFE. That person that has just terrible credit, that's been kind of weighing you down in your business, and you guys can't PG anything. Like your credit is okay. Their credit is probably even worse because they have a couple repos on there. They have evictions. I'm not judging. I've been evicted before. I'll be the first one to tell you, right? I know what that's like, but you have to do something about it. And when these banks start to see that, or these this association, this company sees that, they say, Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, I think you should take a look at this. And guess what? Now that's in their database. And you see how now that starts to kind of become a web against you. And you're wondering, dude, I applied for all this stuff. Why the heck am I getting denied? It goes deeper than that, right? I'm taking you directly to the source, not just a symptom. I'm taking you directly to the source so that we can cure it. Credit account info, such as account numbers, open account dates, close dates, charge-off dates, and amounts, either amounts owed or amounts total that you have, if applicable. Now, can you order a report from the Small Business Financial Exchange? Let me know in the chat. Drop a 1 if you can. Drop a 2 if you can. Let me know if you guys kind of caught what I said earlier.
Let's see what they got to say, bro. I'm seeing 2, 2, 1, 2. That's it. Come on, class. 1, 1.
Bro, we
2.
losing them already?
Oh, man. Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. We're just getting started.
Bro, if we're losing them already, I'm gonna just head downstairs, bro. It's
no,
cool.
don't do that.
I'll send you the slides.
The empanadas can wait, bro. The empanadas can wait. The plantains can wait. Okay, I know, bro. Listen, hey, you know what is funny is I saw somebody in chat said I've been on a lot of funding calls and I've never heard this type of stuff before. First of all, everybody, we're not selling you funding. Isn't that something? We're not selling you funding.
Yeah.
We're just giving you the game. We're letting you experience the community. We're letting you see another way of doing content creation in the financial space and giving you the game. We're not trying to have 10% funding fee from you guys. So literally listen up, because this is a step-by-step ABC 1, 2, 3 playbook. Okay. All of you mentees, you guys are spoiled, man. Like, this is like, try finding somebody that's going to break this system down for you. ABC 1, 2, 3. And I heard somebody say this today. When you find a mentor or you find somebody that you're trying to learn from, go deep with that one person. Don't be going all over the place, because then you get misinformation and disinformation and things don't line up, and then you're more confused before you started. Okay. So all of you mentees, you're going to have the replays to this. This is going to be evergreen in the program. Okay. You're able to reach out to Irv whenever you want in the program. So literally, guys, take notes, take action. And for those that are not in the mentorship, take notes right now, because you'll have your questions being answered at the end of the call. Okay. Love all of you. Mentees, non-mentees, Radical Nation. Let's get it. Keep rocking.
100%. So whatever you answer, the answer is yes and no, which is why I set up the question. I didn't want anyone to feel bad, because again, you don't know what you don't know, but the answer is yes and no. Remember, only members can actually order reports since they are part of a trade association, right? But here's the thing. It's lenders and creditors and vendors that are part of these associations, not people like me and you. Unless you're on this call and you constantly issue out credit, then at that point, obviously you would fall along those lines. At that point, you can register to become or to become a part of their association, a part of their trade, that we can start pulling credit reports. But in our case, we can't actually see that. And so, pro tip, if you're wondering, okay, well, I still want to see my information that's on there. Like, it's my information, it's my business information. I got you. Dun and Bradstreet, write a signal. Again, the source. I'm giving you guys the source. Like, cutting the middleman. Cut the middleman. It's the source. Dun and Bradstreet and Experian Business. The reason why Equifax isn't on here is because Equifax doesn't actually issue you out their own credit report unless you've applied for something. They're really complicated. Again, they used to. They may bring it back. Maybe at the time of this recording, they may bring that feature back. But again, it is 2023. We are April. What are we at? We're April 13th, 2023. They're not issuing that right now, which is why I'm giving you Dun and Bradstreet and Experian Business. Creditsafe, Rad, because he says he hit me up. He hit me up at like 4 a.m, which is my time, and he was sipping pina coladas because it was 4 p.m. his time.
I'm in Bali, y'all. I'm in Bali with this crappy internet, okay? So we're making it work. I've been having coconuts all day, all of that stuff, prepping this. I was telling Irv, put this in, we're calling this the Business Credit Bible, okay? This is like the Business Credit Bible, all right? So we're trying to like fill this thing up with chapters and like literally give you the game. So I'm like, we need Creditsafe in there. We need SBFE in there. We need this. We need that. Guys, literally what's on the slide deck, you don't want to miss, guys. This thing is crazy. Crazy.
Creditsafe, because Rad wanted me to do, and give it up for Rad because I think, what is it your time, brother? 2:30?
Oh, I'm staying up all night. I mean, I ordered a bag of coffees from McDonald's, bro. Okay. And on top of that, the McDonald's here has rice and chicken, bro. That's amazing. Okay, yeah. I have French fries, rice, and chicken with coffees. I'm up all night, baby. It's on.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I promise to keep you awake. Check this out. Creditsafe. If you guys have never heard of Creditsafe, don't beat yourself up. They're really big overseas. They're not just here just yet. Now, I added them on here because they're starting to get bigger here in the United States like they are overseas in Europe. Now, this is going to be what I consider the fourth main business credit bureau. It's going to be Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, and now Creditsafe is what I would consider, and what many are considering. That's going to be like that fourth one that banks are really starting to look at. They're really starting to underwrite with, right? They're typically used most business-to-business vendors for net 30 accounts right now, which means they're still a little bit heavier on kind of like that vendor credit side. But the interesting thing about them is that when they are telling vendors or telling creditors, hey, this is the report, this is how it breaks down, they're also issuing a suggested amount that you should be lended based off of how your business credit profile breaks down with them. You have the Creditsafe risk score that ranges from 1 to 100, right? Now, anything between a 71 to a 100 represents a low risk, kind of like school, right? Once you C's, we used to say C's get degrees, right? If you're in college, you're in high school, C's get degrees, especially in classes that you just didn't care much about. Let's just be honest here. C's get degrees. In this case, 71 is going to be just fine. I always encourage, try to get it up as high as you can. That 80 range, similar to how you would with Dun and Bradstreet, is going to be a good look for your business. Now, the third point right here is Creditsafe also provides credit limit recommendations to lenders and vendors, like I mentioned earlier, considering extending your business financing. This limit is the total amount of credit that should be outstanding at any given time. That's a huge data point. Now, currently, Creditsafe is primarily used by landlords and service companies such as alarm companies, internet providers, phone providers. Think of 30-day cycles, right? Everything that is listed is like on a 30-day cycle. That's typically who's using Creditsafe right now. Now, if you're wondering how can I get my hands on a Creditsafe report, I got you covered, right? What's the saying that we're using today? We're not gatekeeping, right? That's the saying that we're going with today. Not gatekeeping. I think Rad's been saying that this entire time. I think that's kind of been like the mantra over the last couple of weeks.
Anti-Guru Club. Anybody can join it. Listen, we're literally making enemies on YouTube because of the content that we're dropping. We're not on podcasts, talking about how to do this stuff theoretically. We're on live streams, 3, 5, 7-hour calls, giving you the step-by-step playbook, teaching you how to fish for yourself. So you can start one business and start 2 businesses and start 3 businesses, and you can start aging your LLCs. And next thing you know, you get $1 million in funding. Like that really can happen, but you don't know what you don't know. There's a system, there's a framework, there's a process, there's a flow, there's things that you don't know. They don't want you to know this because they want to literally get you, a divvy card, get a sign-up bonus and call it $50,000 in business credit or 0% business credit cards from Elon Financial, US Bank, or Chase Bank. Okay, guys, literally, that is so yesterday. Anybody can do that shit. Okay, you go to the website, you apply for a business credit card at 0%. You can do it yourself. You just got to know the data points and know how to fill out an application and have yourself compliant. That's it. That's it. We can help you get $100,000 to $250,000 in funding just with these 4-part series on your own. On your own. And guess what? If you have a spouse, you could do it with them too. The next thing you know, you have $500,000 in business credit. Wouldn't that be amazing, right? You can use your credit partner. Wouldn't that be amazing? And nobody's taking $50,000, $25,000 from you guys, right? That's honestly, guys, that's the reason why we charge for our program. $14.97 is really an admin fee. I pay for more of that in one software. Ask my team. Okay. But literally, guys, that is the reason why we charge, because you don't value what you get for free. You don't take seriously what you get for free. That's human nature. It's called coaching. Right. And so this is why we charge, but we don't take back end things from people. We literally just give you the information so that way you can be a fisherman and a fisherwoman and make your dreams happen. So, bro, you are killing the game right now. They're not ready for this. We have a new rule. We have a new rule. All right. Everybody with me? Say yes if you're with me. I'm looking at the chat right now. Say yes if you're with me. Listen, I'm up all night with you guys. Okay. Say yes if you're with me. Okay, great. Here's the deal. Every time that Irv drops a gem, I want gem emojis in the chat or fire emojis in the chat. If you want to go fuego, all of my Latinos, go fuego, okay? All of my English-speaking gringos and gringas like myself, okay? Put the gem in there, okay? So every time he drops a gem, let him know, okay? Because we're literally seeing how people are gauging this information, so that way we know how to keep delivering that to you. We don't know what we don't know. You need to let us know. So the new rule, every time there's a gem being dropped, fire emojis or gems being dropped. I'm watching the chat. Keep rocking, bro. We got a long way to go.
Creditsafe.com is where you want to go to get yourself a copy of your credit report. It's super simple. I'm trying to, again, consolidate this information for you. You would just fill out your information on there. And then you would just get prompted to verify your business. And then from there, you would have to book a call to get on a call with the rep. That's it. Obviously, I won't show you the rest of those slides because that's essentially what you would do. The reason why you would want to get a copy of your business credit report is because when I show you the next slide of who is taking a look at their information as a big player and who reports over to them, you're going to say, okay, maybe I need to take this a little bit more seriously than what I thought. So I'm going to let the screen sit here for a second before I even say anything. Let me know if you guys recognize any names.
MasterCard, PayPal. Man.
Adidas, nice. BMW, Dell, eCredible, MasterCard, Harley-Davidson, Panasonic.
Let me ask you a question. Well, let me ask you a question. How much do you think? So I have actually heard that Lexus, right, is actually going on the blockchain now too. And there a lot of this information, when we get into, this is not even crypto talk, guys, but it kind of is. For those that know crypto, rock with me. A lot of this information they are moving to a system where everything is going to be kind of like a tri-fi system, right? Traditional finance, DeFi, with crypto when regulation happens. But what's crazy about DLT and crypto is you cannot manufacture, you cannot misrepresent anything, right? The blockchain is the status quo. So once it's on the blockchain, it's on the blockchain. Once this information's on the blockchain, good luck challenging stuff because it's on the blockchain. That's where the credit repair is going to change. That's where a lot of these different things are going to change. Like the whole CFPB thing where Biden was trying to cancel the bureaus, like that's a real thing that could happen. Where they get rid of the private companies and it's all regulated on a federal level on blockchain, right? You look at FedNow coming out with Jerome Powell and the entire thing with the inflation things. Guys, we're getting ready to go into a brand new system, right? Credit may change how it operates. This reporting data that they're making billions and millions of dollars off of your information that you're not getting paid for. Literally, guys, you don't know what you don't know. They don't want you to know this information. So you really need to take action and clean up your reports, build out your reports before we get shifted into this new system where you can do nothing about it. Because that's what this is. That's what this is, guys. LexisNexis, CoreLogic, Creditsafe, all these type of things, SBFE, all of these reporting agencies, guys, the secondary bureaus on the personal, on the business side, you need to take them serious. It's not a joke. It's time to take your credit serious, your personal credit and your business credit, because you can't have great business credit without good personal credit. It's a lot harder. You got to make a lot of revenue. You got to have a lot of assets. I'm sorry, the no PG game is a bunch of bullshit. Okay. It's a bunch of bullshit. Okay. I know you want me to tell you, hey, no PG, no PG, no PG. It's a bunch of bullshit. Okay. Literally build out your personal credit, protect it with your life, use credit to acquire assets, then get business credit off of those assets. Learn how to move money between your personal and your business so you're not piercing the corporate veil. Learn how to have a compliant business. Learn how to build out your framework. I just got approved for $65,000 Wells Fargo, no doc today. I showed Irv, didn't I, bro? Yeah. 65%. It was like a prime rate, what, 3% plus that or something like that? Like,
that was good.
But 65, great. 65,000 liquid. Okay, cool. You know, like I'm after $1 million in funding, no docs, no UCC filings. Okay, this out there. We have it in this program. We're dropping them in this program. We got the relationship bankers in this program. Okay, between me and Irv, we got them. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is fix your credit and repair your credit. We're not selling credit repair. We're not selling funding. This is a do-it-yourself system. If you can't do it yourself, we don't have anything to talk about because we're only working with people that are action takers and doers. This information right here, you have to clean up your reports because you're going to wish that you did someday. And you're going to ask yourself, why are these people getting approved for massive limits and I'm only getting $5,000 in business credit cards, right? Why is everybody else doing it, but I'm not getting it? Well, you don't have the relationships and you don't have the right compliance and you don't have the right build out and you don't even know what your secondary bureaus are showing. Okay. That's just something to think about. And we got to be honest, right? We don't want to lie to ourselves. Our culture tells us to cancel everybody and to lie to everybody. Stop canceling everybody that disagrees with you. Stop canceling everybody that speaks into your life, right? It's because of that coaching, that truth that can help you grow. If you want a yes man, I'm not your guy, right? I'm here to help. I'm here to give you the truth. So that way you guys can literally take it and run with it and build your dreams. Loving people and launching dreams. That's what we stand for here at the Radical Marketer Mentorship. Keep rocking, bro.
Love it. So these are the notable Creditsafe clients right here that I want you guys to pay attention to. Notice that I said clients because they are furnishing data for them and they're also getting it reported from them. And so that's, again, BMW, Dell, Equifax, MasterCard, Harley-Davidson, Panasonic. There's a bunch more, but I kept the main ones that we know here in the U.S. because there's way more overseas. But I mean, Volvo, that's overseas. BMW, that's overseas. Adidas, that's overseas. And when I say overseas, I mean companies that were started outside of the U.S., right? This is important, especially for those of us that are looking to get into more fleets with our vehicles, especially if you guys are trying to go more along the foreign route. Creditsafe is going to be a good look for you. Now, did you know, this is a banger right here. Did you know that there is a business credit agency just for trucking? Did you know that, Rad?
Oh, I didn't even know that. How many people knew that? Say yes or no in the chat. Let's see. Let's see. I didn't know that. Y'all better listen up. See? Okay. Bam. Okay. So repeat that because this is a fire piece of content for the Instagram. Go ahead.
Did you know that there is a business credit agency just for the trucking industry?
Let's go, man. They thought they were getting a free class, bro, full of fluff. What did I tell you guys on the YouTube channel? Listen, Irv, let me talk my shit for a minute. These people are wondering, why aren't you on YouTube? Why aren't you on YouTube? Oh, he fell off. Oh, he sold out. Oh, he's a guru now. Okay, literally. Guys, you know what I was doing for the last 9-10 months? It takes 9 months to birth a baby, right? Well, I birthed the mentorship program, speaking into people's lives, them giving me $1,500, which is like $125 a month. If you don't have that, I don't know what, but that's a whole nother thing. But literally, I built out a program to support people, build a network that is there for one another. And that's where I've been at, guys. That's where they thought I fell off, bro. I've just been sowing into my people. I could go on YouTube and make the crazy YouTube money, but I focus on delivering value to my people, building my tribe, instilling my vibe, and just literally loving the hell out of people and helping them figure this thing out and getting my hands dirty, getting it out the mud with people and helping them know what they don't know, right? And so literally, bro, like they are not ready for what you're about to tell them right now, man. They're just not. They thought they were coming on here for another funding call for us to give them business credit cards or for us to tell them about net 30s.
Yeah.
Guys, whenever we do a video and whenever we do a free call, you better freaking watch it. You better prioritize it, because I'll be damned if I ever drop fluff. If you think it's fluff, it's stuff to somebody else. But listen here, I don't play games. My integrity is not for sale. It's not for sale. I don't do funding. I don't do credit repair. They can both burn in hell. If you do that, you better do it ethical. I'm probably your enemy. Straight up. I'll probably shoot shots at you on YouTube, because I have no place for credit repair and funding companies anymore. 90% to 95% of them are trash. Book that call. 90 to 95% of credit repair and funding companies are absolute bullshit and trash. There's only like 5% of ethical people doing it. Sorry if I hurt your feelings. That's the truth. And I'm out here to try to give the information so you can do this yourself, because you know what they're doing? You know what they're doing in funding and credit repair? They're taking your information through an app, like an affiliate app, Identity IQ, Smart Credit. Okay. They want you to fill out a free consultation. Okay. Then they want affiliate income. They want to do mass amounts of apps. You know, they create a video, fill out a free consultation. That way they get paid monthly off of you, 10, 15 bucks off of you. Add that up to 1,000 people. You do the math. Okay. Regurgitate information that they're hearing that they know nothing about. Okay. If they bring you on as a client, overcharging you, keeping you on a system that's worse than cancer with chemo. Okay. My mom died of stage 4 cancer. I can say this. Okay. So they want to prolong the illness. Oh, we got to repair the credit. We're not going to add any positive blood flow. We're just going to keep dragging you along. Right. Okay. Until they squeeze you with no results, because you need to be making on-time payments and having positive. Don't apply for anything else. It'll mess up the process. Right, guys. It's absolute bullshit. It's full of affiliate income and hurting people, broken promises, broken dreams. That's why when people say, do you know anybody do this credit repair? I don't, and I don't want to. Right. And I actually cut off my funding company that I was working with, because I said, you know what? These people can learn how to do it themselves. I was kind of on the fence about it. I was like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to teach people how to fish for themselves. So I'm not affiliated with any funding company, and I'm losing a lot of money by it. But I don't care, because my integrity is not for sale. And if I do the right thing, God's got my back. And I hope you have my back. If you have my back, put an amen in the chat, because we're really trying to do this radical nation thing, and we're trying to help people from the ground up do it right. And the funding shit, you guys can learn this stuff yourself from the videos. Irv and me are going to be committed. If I got to drop personal videos, you got to drop business videos. Listen, guys, we're not competitors. We're collaborators. We're technically competition, man. Yeah. Look at our YouTube. We're technically competition.
Yeah.
But we're saying
overlap. A lot of overlap.
A lot of overlap. But guess what? Guess who's talking YouTube in his program next month? Me. Real estate, trucking, all of it. How to make 6 to 7 figures on YouTube. Okay. I'm doing that for him in his program next month. The overlap doesn't matter. When you find people on one accord that are good freaking humans, that's what matters. When you find your tribe, that's what matters. And so that's why he's here, is to say, listen, I'm going to download my entire program in a 4-week course in your program. And I'm going to get my hands dirty with your mentees, and I'm going to serve the hell out of them, because who you serve, it comes back to you guys. We can't have this scarcity mentality anymore. I know I'm super passionate about this, and I'm letting him rip. I'm bringing in the best in the game, because people don't know what they don't know. And I'm telling you this over and over and over again. You don't know what you don't know. Get in the damn room. Turn off the damn TV. Make time. Work on yourself. Invest in yourself. Right now, we're in a recession. Okay? It could turn into a depression. The greatest wealth transfer is about to happen. Are you prepared for it? Are you set up for it? You know that answer. I can't speak for that. Business credit is going to be one major hack to get it done. Right? If you can throw $1 million in business credit into a real estate market right now, oh my God. Oh my God. The wealth, this is like a garage sale for the wealthy right now. And this information is usually gatekept for the wealthy. Trust, foundations, own nothing, control everything, foreign entities, all this stuff, guys. Welcome to the Radical Marketer Mentorship.
Love it. Let's continue. Truckers in the room. This one's for you guys. Trans Credit is the agency that I want to highlight in this section right here, because they specialize specifically with the trucking, or with generating trucking reports, or credit for trucking reports, right? So they have the score. If you notice, there's like a common theme between how they generate their scores. It's usually 0 to 100, right? But with them, you want to be above a 90 in order for you to not be considered, or in order for you to be considered a low risk, meaning you're actually more likely to get higher funding for your trucking business. I know for a fact this probably hasn't been spoken about, Rad, because I freaking YouTubed it and I Googled it to see, okay, has anyone ever touched TransCredit? I didn't see anything. I think the only thing that I maybe saw was like, like those like old school videos that they had with like the hand drawing. It was their own company talking about it with like 25 views. I'm like, no one's talking about this. Why isn't anyone talking about this? The reason why anyone isn't talking about this is because it's like a best kept secret. That's why we titled this Secrets of the Business Credit Bureaus. Now, if you're wondering, how do they rank these scores? They're referring to overall days to pay, which means, I'm going to read it exactly how it is right here, which is the average number of days that it took for the trucking company, meaning your company, to pay their invoices over the last 6 months. So they're taking that average on the days to pay. So if it took you 30 days to pay, if it took you 45 days to pay, if it took you 5 days to pay, if it took you 10 days to pay, whatever that is, and then it's a 6-month floating average that they're taking. So they're working in 6-month cycles. So it's semi-annual versus if it's Dun and Bradstreet, right? It's days beyond terms. That's usually working in 15-day cycles, 30-day cycles, 45-day cycles. This is why you want to know these data points, because like Brad said earlier, hey, if you don't know the rules of the game, you're going to lose. You're going to lose if you don't know the rules of the game. So they service and monitor credit lines, freight brokers, factoring firms, insurance companies, and load boards. Rad, do you think we have a couple of those in here? Oh, yeah. You think that they may be able to hit up TransCredit to take a look at their credit reports after this call? I think so. And you know what I'm waiting for? Irv, you better drop the first call, because I can see some people, you know how people like to regurgitate people's information that they know nothing about because they like to be parrots. I call them professional parrots. Okay. So when you guys are on YouTube seeing people being professional parrots, just drop parrot emojis and we'll know who taught you parrot emoji. We're calling parrots, professional parrots. Okay. So go ahead to your YouTube and drop your favorite professional parrots in the comment section and let them know what's up. Okay. Because literally, guys, this is the first time I've ever heard of TransCredit. Thank you for bringing this to the table. TransCredit. Pull up. I'm not sure if I have a slide on it on the next one, but if I do, I'll say it again. The way that you pull up your credit report with them, transcredit.com, get on a call with them. And you can pull up your credit. Yes, they're going to try to sell you services on the back end, monitoring all that. You already have that set up with Dun and Bradstreet. You already have that set up with NAV. But the caveat to this is if you wanted to know specifically what's getting reported for your trucking, like invoices that are getting paid or equipment that's being financed, you're going to maybe want to add that service on with them. That would be the caveat that I would have with TransCredit. PayNet. I know Rad's heard of them because he woke me up about them too as well. Hey, Irv, you think we can add PayNet on there? I said, let's do it. But for those of you guys that don't know, PayNet is a part of the Equifax family. They were actually acquired, I believe, back in 2019. Yep. That's important to know. Yep. Because that means that they have a much larger footprint and they have a much larger reach. Because now think of it like this. You have US Bank, and then you have the subsidiary, which is going to be Elon Financial of US Bank. Remember, we've covered that before. As a matter of fact, we're going to bring that back up during the funding call next week, which a lot of people, they don't know that. But now you do, because you're on this call. PayNet is kind of like under the umbrella of Equifax. This is important because you have the Equifax score, and then actually I should say scores. Right? They have various scores. They have the risk scores. They have the risk mitigation scores. They have the default scores. But I'll just say scores. And then you have the PayNet Master Score, which is going to predict the risk based on 587 variables, Rad, and 135 unique variables. That's how they're grading each of our businesses based on how PayNet has it structured, right? And all of that information is feeding back in through Small Business Financial Exchange. Now we're starting to see how it's all kind of coming together, right? You have PayNet, flows up to Equifax. Equifax flows back into Small Business Financial Exchange, which then flows back to you. And you're wondering, why am I getting denied? Because there's more to it. Now, the PayNet Master Score goes from 450 to 800, where the lower the score, the higher the risk, similar to how it is, right? In most cases, especially like in the business credit realm or personal credit realm. Now they have scorecards, and their scorecards, they're going to take a look at your industry, the industry size. They're going to take a look at, your industry, the size of your business, the age and or the combination. Here's why I want to drop my cap on here, and I want to kind of let this part sit right here. A lot of us have been lying on our applications. A lot of us have been lying on our applications. A lot of funding companies, and I'll say it as well because I know this industry extremely well. A lot of funding companies, they're not telling you what they're putting on these applications.
Oh my God.
And because they're not telling you what they're putting on your applications, you don't necessarily know what data is being harvested for you or against you. So when they say, hey, you're in trucking, but I think that you should put consulting instead of trucking, you guys know how I feel about that. Be truthful about it. I'd rather see you put logistics. I'd rather see you put general management versus consult. Dude, you're not consulting. My dad's a trucker. My dad was a trucker for many years, me growing up over 30 years. You're not consulting. You're out there, you're driving. You are the lifeline of this country. You're not consulting. You're out there getting after it. So when they put consulting, your business is now being sized up against other consulting companies, and they're also being sized up against the average age of that same industry and the borrower size, which means if, let's say, you are in the trucking industry and the average trucker, just off the head example, right? Not saying that you make this, $250 in the first 3 years. Could be a lot more, could be a lot less. $250,000 gross revenue in the first, let's say, 3 years. And now you're putting that you're in the consulting business, which now carries different margins, which is why they put it, and they tell you to put it, right? Because it's considered low risk, carries different margins, carries a different type of size, carries a different type of location, a different type of demographic, and more often than not, that now translates into, wait a minute, this profile doesn't match what Small Business Financial Exchange has, what PayNet has, what Sonia has, which we're going to be breaking down, what Experian, what Equifax has. And I know that you're probably wondering, okay, where are you going with this? I'm going with this where how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you are...
Say that again. Say that is a gem. Say that again, and everybody listen to what he just said.
How you do anything is how you do everything, right?
So
So if you are, let's say, paying a funding company, I want you know what the heck they're putting on your application. Dude, how many employees are you putting on there? What's my entity? What's my NAICS code? What's the SIC code? What address are you guys using? What's the gross revenue being reported on there? What's the personal income being reported on there? What's the total household income? What's the projected revenue being reported on there? I need to know this because when I stop working with you, I am going to try to apply for a business loan, a home loan later on. And guess who that's going to bite back in their rear end? It's not going to be them, ladies and gents. It's going to be you. It's going to be you, which is why, and even if you're doing this yourself on applications, I get it. The more you put on application, naturally, you're going to get more. Look, me and Rad understand these numbers more than just about anyone else. Rarely do you see us making videos about put this on your application. I'll give you case studies of what clients made, but I won't say put the specific number because everyone is different. And so I'll get off that real quick because I know that.
No. Don't get off that real quick. How many people want to hear what happens when you lie on an application? Put me in the chat. Put me in the chat. How many people want to know what happens when you lie on an application? Now, this is not going to be a come to Jesus meeting and everybody confess that they've lied on applications. Okay. That's between you and, the Almighty.
Yeah, no,
but
we're not calling anyone out. We're
not calling anybody out, but talk to them about what happens when you apply and lie, right? What does it happen with the bureaus? What happens in the funding companies? Break that down. So when a funding company happens, they shotgun your credit. They need to put in there to get the deal. They know the numbers to get the job done. They know what the relationship bankers need. So tell them the process of when you work with a funding company, because this is a very good piece of information for people that if they work with funding companies, they need to know this information. So when they work with a funding company, what happens and how does a person in funding help somebody secure funding when it comes to the client, to the relationship manager, and to get these massive approvals? How do the numbers need to look for them? And then what can happen if these numbers don't reflect what they put on there? What's some ramifications that the client needs to provide as far as paperwork? What happens 100%. On the back end with the PayNet, with all the bureaus. And here's another thing. Guys, a lot of funding companies will actually go to Fiverr to make pay stubs. And that is a big no-no. And some of you guys are on this call that make pay stubs. And that's a big no-no. How do I know? Because I've deleted a lot of your comments in my Facebook group. Okay. We need to have a real conversation about credit fraud. Okay. Because a lot of the people that you're listening to will fraud the system for $1. And if they'll fraud the system for $1, what do you think they'll do for you? Talk to them, Irv. Let's have a serious conversation real quick about this.
100%. So I want everyone on this call to be very mindful and careful of what I'm about to say right here. Right. The reason why me and Rad bring this type of material to you is so that you not just know how to fish, but if you decide to hire someone, right? If you just say, dude, I don't have time for this, let me hire. I want you to at least know what's being done on the back end, right? If you don't know what you don't know, it's going to hurt you more if you know something and decide not to do anything about it. Both of them are going to hurt you in their own ways. So now that you know this information, you want to find out, or you want to know look, keep a track record. This is what I'm reporting. If you're doing your own funding sequence, I tell my clients, take a screenshot of everything that you're reporting. How many employees did I put on here? What's the revenue that I'm reporting? Yes, there's applications that are going to ask you for projected revenue. Do I want you to be optimistic? 100%. Do I also want you to be careful not to over leverage yourself and say, hey, I'm going to make $1 million in my first year? 100%. You want to know the total household income that you're putting on there. You want to put the time or the age that you've been in business. I know that a lot of times you may want to sidestep that and say, well, I've technically been in business with, let's say, a sole prop for the last 5 years. But unfortunately, the bank, what they're going to take a look at is not just the age of when you opened up that account, but they're also going to take a look at the age of the entity that you opened up. Now, it's a full different discussion if we're talking about you buying an H Corp. That is a sidestep that you can have. But I'm talking about you putting a number that you know is a bit higher so that you can secure that funding, or so that you can secure that. Two things happen. Number one is obviously Fed time, right? We're all seeing the memes about what people did with the PPP loans, right? Some of that stuff is funny when you're watching the memes, but it's also not funny because some of these people are throwing their lives away just to get a couple of extra bucks. And I know that desperate times calls for desperate measures, but I don't want you to be one of them, right? I want everyone in this room to win. I know that only a select few of us, though, are actually going to use this information and apply it. I know that a good amount of us are going to go back to our ordinary lives. We're going to say, that was a great call. Let me call that funding company because this is a lot of work. So again, we're adults. We're going to treat this how we want. But the second thing is you'll get blacklisted. The last thing that you want to do is get blacklisted, because I know what it's like to be in American Express jail. Rad knows what it's like to be in American Express jail. I know what it's like to be in Bank of America jail. I don't know if he does. And I know how hard you have to work in order for you to get out of what we call that jail. And that jail, I'm not talking about fraud. I'm talking about, I just had collections with them, for crying out loud. God forbid you commit a fraud like that and they catch it. You get blacklisted. Look, I don't care how many EINs you got. I don't care how many CPNs you try to burn through. That's not going to work, especially with how sharp algorithms are getting. Everything's essentially getting attached back to your social. It just is what it is. And so, yes, you still have your EIN, but your social, which is what you still have to put on these applications, especially with some of these bigger banks, you're going to say, wait a minute, wasn't that the person that looked through the list? Boom. Yep, that's them. Auto denial. And maybe it's because of nothing that you did. Maybe it's something that was done beforehand and you knew nothing about. But guess what? Now you do. And so I'm going to move on from this one because I still got some more ground to cover. Credit.net. That's an Experian partner. We had PayNet, Equifax family, Experian partner with Credit.net. Notice the language that I'm using. A family means that they're acquired. They're inside of their umbrella. Partner means I'm doing a transaction with them. They're still two different businesses, right? So Credit.net is a business credit reporting agency that operates both in the US and in Canada. So for my Canadians that are watching the call, what's up, right? But for the rest of us that are here in the US, this is going to be a multinational reporting agency, which is really interesting to see, especially in this type of space. And so they host over 16 million businesses inside of their database. They've partnered directly with Experian, which means they cross-reference business data points with each other. Credit.net reports include the recommended limit for your business. So similar to what we had with Safe, that's the same thing here, where they're giving a recommendation to the creditor. They're giving a recommendation to the bank. Hey, based off of these risk factors that we've pulled up, this is how much funding or this is how much of a trade line this company should get. Now, they're typically going to pull it from, essentially their reports are made up of for your financials, so on your business and on your personal side, the reputation. This is why I wanted to drill down what I just finished mentioning earlier, reputation of the business and reputation of the owner, and public record information. Again, their score ranges from 1 to 100. So the higher, the better. With this, you want to have at least a 70. Remember what we said earlier, C's get degrees. And so a C is a passing score when it comes to credit.net. Now, if they don't have enough data on you, then it's just not going to calculate a business credit score. Same thing with them, credit.net. You can check them out right on credit.net. You can look that up. It'll take you right to their website. And then from there, you can see how you can order yourself a business credit report, which I won't spend too much time on because I wanted to really spend some time on this one right here. FICO SBSS, what do we know about them? Drop a one.
Man, let's see how many people know about this one.
FICO SBSS, if you got them, drop a 1, drop a 2 if this is going to be your first time hearing it.
Be honest. Let us know so we can focus on it. We got 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay. Okay, a lot of 2s.
So they don't know.
Nope.
Okay, let's get to work. FICO SBSS score, which is the actual term, is FICO Liquid Credit. I love that name. FICO Liquid Credit Small Business Scoring Service. This is a direct scoring service business, not just with the personal, like we have with FICO 8s, FICO 9s, FICO 10Ts, right? FICO Advantage. This is also happening over on the business side. Now, if you've never heard of it, I'm super excited because this is going to help a lot of us out, especially as this model continues to get really more popular. Now, I'm calling it a model. It's not necessarily a credit bureau, so to speak. It's more of a scoring model, right? Which is a key indicator, something you really want to pay attention to. Over 7,500 lenders are currently using it, and that number is growing. Banks, business credit card issuers, and other lenders are going to start making lending decisions based off of this scoring model right here. Now, if you didn't know, now you know, like Biggie says, right? The SBA requires lenders to use this as a pre-screen for borrowers for some of the SBA loans that it insures. Remember, especially if you're new to the SBA world, the SBA isn't necessarily the bank, right? Conceptualize this. They're not necessarily the bank that's giving you the loan. That's the product inside of the bank. So when you apply, let's say at Huntington Bank is issuing it through the funding of, or through it being insured by the SBA, right? This is why when PPP was popular, every bank was offering it, even though it was being insured by the SBA, right? They funded them with money, insured it, and then banks were like, oh, free money, let's give it out. And so it's kind of like the same thing here whenever you're just dealing with, again, Section 7A loans with SBA or some of these micro loans. Now, the scores that you typically get with this typically come and are used by banks and lenders to approve you for business leases, term loans, lines of credit, and SBA loans. Banks are not required to disclose, though. This is important. Banks are not required to disclose if they've pulled or if they've taken a look at your FICO SBSS score. So in the same way that they're taking a look at your FICO 8 score, which is what they typically look at when you're trying to apply for funding via PG, that's going to be the same thing here, but you don't actually know until you get notified. They don't disclose that to you up front. Now, the funding that typically they range with is up to $1 million with term loans and up to $250 with leasing transaction. But I got some more data points for us. And so the scores range from 0 to 300, 300 being the highest score with FICO SBSS. The higher the score, it obviously indicates the lower the risk. Now, pre-screening means SBA Section 7A loans. And if you have no idea what Section 7A loans, PPP loans. Those are Section 7A loans that 90% of us got, right? Or at least the majority of us got. Those are Section 7A loans. So the minimum SBSS scores for a Section 7A loan, 155. For a Community Vantage score, 140. And for an Express Bridge Loan Pilots program, 130, which is typically for newer businesses. Now, with these programs right here, we're going to break them down. I'm not sure if in week 3 or in week 4, right? Because I still have more ground to cover. But those are typically the 3 main SBA loans, the programs that are going to be taking a look at or going to really take heed to the FICO SBSS score. So this is one that, again, you want to pay attention to. Remember, they're pulling to merge. They're pulling your personal payments, and they're also pulling your business payments, and then they're putting that score together. Now, pro tip, if your score falls below the required threshold, it doesn't necessarily mean that your application can't be approved. From here, they're just going to take a look at your application on a manual approval. So for those of us that maybe don't have the strongest SBSS score, but let's say our business has been in business for about 4 years, all the data points that we just finished covering are on point. We have a pretty strong personal credit, but our business credit isn't up to par, and we have some cash flow. Remember, these are all different factors that they throw into the equation when they're pre-qualifying you. But it's like it's like a two-way street. If you don't have a lot of cash flow, I'm going to strongly recommend that you start building up your personal and your business credit scores, and you build them up fast, because that's going to make up a lot of ground for you where you lack the capital. A lot of us that have maybe a bit more capital, there's a little bit of wiggle room because you can always throw a little bit of cash to some of the problems and make them go away. Now, what makes up the FICO SBSS score? You guys thought I was going to get away from this, but I wasn't. What makes up the FICO SBSS score? The score is calculated on a blend, like I mentioned earlier. So this is your personal and your business credit, along with your financial information. This is why, again, I'm going back to it. You want to take screenshots whenever you're posting an application. If you're an Excel gal or an Excel guy, you want to have maybe a Google Doc or an Excel spreadsheet of what you're placing on each application for the amount that you're putting on the revenue of the business, on your total household income, the years that you've been in business. I like to take screenshots and as I'm filling out each application for myself, and I always tell my clients, take screenshots of applications and then just put them like into a little file. So if I was doing a funding, let's say if I was going through a funding sequence, and for, let's say, April, right? I'm ready to go. I've been in the garden for some time. Okay, April's my month. My inquiries are off. I'm ready to go. Okay, let's start this funding sequence. Boom, I'm going to fill out the applications. I'm going to submit them, or if I go in person, I'm going to make copies of that, and I'm going to throw that into a little folder, and I'm going to put the month on it. Hey, funding sequence for the month of April. I don't know if you've ever done it like that, Rad, but I think that I find that really helpful when we set it up that way.
Super helpful. Super helpful.
Yeah, no, it's definitely super helpful, especially as you're setting yourself up, because I like to work in 60 to 90 day sequences when you're doing your funding, because it lets your credit breathe a little bit. Now, consumer and credit reports, they're going to take a look at up to 5 owners. So this is why it's important to know all the owners that are listed on there. So if you say, hey, it's me and 3 partners, everyone's credit is getting pulled up. It's going to be one commercial credit report, but everyone's consumer credit report is getting mashed up into that score. So if you're maybe thinking, I think that there may be someone that I may need to take off of the LLC so that we can get some of this funding, that may need to be a conversation that needs to happen if, again, they're not doing anything to really work toward building out their personal credit and their business credit, which is, again, the common theme tonight. I want you guys to have both, not just one. Business and financial information stated on loan applications. So as soon as that application gets submitted, and by the way, this isn't for SBA. I'm referring to just general loan applications, personal and business. All of that gets thrown into that FICO SBSS database. And so that's why those averages that were maybe thrown out last year that maybe you submitted or somebody submitted for you, if you don't know that, those are numbers that you want to know, because as you're submitting new applications for a new funding round, if there's a big discrepancy in numbers, or if there's a big discrepancy in the type of business that you were doing versus what you're doing now, that can throw everything off. Now, one last thing that I wanted to say here is that you want to build up each of these scores, specifically SBSS score, before you need it, because it does take some time for this stuff to start reporting. Businesses are not covered by the Fair Credit Reporting Act protections. So this means that if you are denied due to you having maybe a low FICO SBSS score, lenders aren't required to tell you. And you're also not entitled to getting access to that score. So something that I wanted you guys to know. So
real quick, bro. Real quick before you recap, because I think this is super important. So you dropped some fire in there about people that have businesses, right? They have credit partners, right, on their operating agreement, things like that. So what would be a good way you've dealt with this a lot in business, right? And you deal with this with a lot of your clients because your program strictly deals with business credit build outs, right? And framework. So people that have joint partners and people that are using credit partners on the LLC to be able to get the max funding possible. What are some conversations what would you say? Let's say we have somebody in here named Tom. Let's just use the name Tom. And Tom really needs the funding, but his friend Jerry is a really good friend of his, right? Let's say Jerry, I have tons of Jerrys in this program, so I'm not talking about any Jerry here, okay? But I'm just saying, let's say Jerry doesn't have good credit, right? How would you recommend a conversation to happen between two individuals that have done business together for a very long time, where one person just doesn't have the credit? How would you handle that conversation? Because you're just you have a way with words. How would you handle that conversation? Because having the wrong people apply with you could be catastrophic for your applications.
100%. I mean, I would make sure that we're all on board, right? So it's for the greater purpose, which means our business needs to progress. And so it's a business decision. We're still going to have a barbecue on the weekends. We're still going to hang out, right? Whatever that may be. I'm still going to come see you for your birthday, but our business needs to go forward. Similar to when a CEO knows to step down or knows when to hand it off, right? Hey, I no longer want to be CEO. That position is now yours. I'm now going to be on the back end more, maybe as an operator or just completely out of the business. That conversation needs to happen here in this case and say, hey, dude, this is the logic. These are our credit reports. This is where you're at. This is where I'm at. I don't mind personally guaranteeing on behalf of our business, but the only way that happens is if we remove you off of, or at least we drop your percentage from maybe 25% on the operating agreement down to maybe 20% or below, like 15%, right? So that way we don't have to put that person on the applications versus if you're 50-50 at that point, we got to put you on. Because remember, when you're filling out a business credit application, it's asking for all partners above 25%.
That's good, bro. That's really good because a lot of people may not even think about that when it comes to funding, because they may just be like, hey, listen, we can use our credits together, but not realizing that it's almost like buying a home. One person can bring it completely down. Bingo. And so it's just like, this is a big deal, especially when you're dealing with, percentages of the business and things like that. So you got to be very mindful when you're doing a joint partnership or you're bringing a credit partner into your LLC, specifically joint ventures and things like that. You have to be very careful about that because this right here, could slow the whole thing down. Okay. So audit your business for sure. Know that and just be able to have those tough conversations. Because if you don't, you're going to have a tough conversation later. And I just want to bring that up because I just knew that you were super tactic. You're very good with your words, bro. I'm not as smooth with my tongue as you are as far as the words go, bro. So I just wanted your insight and how you would handle that at a a CEO level.
I mean, you definitely got it, bro. I mean, you're good with your words. Don't say that to me, bro. Come on now, making me feel bad. Business credit scores is super important. So quick recap on this: Dun and Bradstreet PayNet score 1 to 100. Target is at least an 80. Experian Teller score 1 to 100. Target 75 plus. Equifax score 3 to 580. At least a 490 on that. And again, I know that there's a couple different scores out there, but I'm going based off of the ones that you guys are going to see on your NAV reports, right? FICO SPSS 1 to 300, Target 140 plus. Obviously, I'm giving you guys baselines, not end all. So I don't want it to be lower than this. And then Creditsafe Target 71 plus. Now, some simple credit monitoring is Credit Signal with Dun and Bradstreet, of course. You have NAV, and that's going to be specifically with the business loan builder. I think it's like either 49 or 59 bucks. But the reason why you want to get that, you're going to get a twofer, meaning a 2-for-1. You're going to get it reporting across all the bureaus, right? And you're also going to get yourself, and when I say all bureaus, Dun and Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian. So let me backtrack that, right? That's important for you to know. And you're also going to get the FICO SPSS score unlocked. So you can keep a track on that, especially as we start inching our way into more of SBA type of products. Tilful is cool. They have their own little score going on. Think of it kind of like the Vantage score for Credit Karma, but I throw them in there because I'm gonna give you guys that option as well that we're gonna use to build up some of our credit. But it's also a nice place for you to put some alerts on there. The more yes, we want to have the source of where our reporting is coming from, but the more alerts that I can have on my credit to make sure that everything is matching across the board, the better it's going to be. So that way I know, okay, if Tilful gave me an alert that my, let's say, Experian score was pulled when I applied for, let's say, a business credit card, but let's say Nav gave me an alert that FICO SPSS pulled it. Now I have a few different metrics that I can look at, a few data points. So that way I'm not sidetracked with anything. Because remember, you're not getting alerted the same way that you are when you apply for a Chase business credit card or Chase, let's say, Freedom card, and then you get that letter in the mail 7, 10, 15 days later, letting you know why you got denied. That's why I want you guys to set these things up in advance. So building scores and business profiles with the exact accounts. Rad, we haven't even gotten there yet, bro. But I need them to drop.
They're not even ready, bro. Guys, I hope you guys have your questions. This is an all-nighter, guys. All stuff, no fluff. Drop a 1. If you're ready, drop a 1. There we go. We got some 1s.
Rad, you know what the thing is? You know what it is too, bro? It's like every corner we take, they're waiting for the pitch, and then when they realize that the pitch isn't coming, they're like,
"There's no pitch, y'all."
They're like, "What gives? What gives? There's no pitch." I've been on all these webinars, and at the end, hey, dude, no.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, guys, like, we really wanted to bring this tonight with no pitch, right? And we really wanted to just add value. You've built our communities, and it's the people that make the communities. Obviously, we don't live our life around you, but we're really grateful for you. And everybody under the sound of my voice right now, like, we are very grateful for you. You have watched our videos, you have supported our communities, and we just want to tell you thank you. And I think that I think creators need to give back to their following a lot more, because we're really nothing without you. It's really a miracle that we can grow on social media like this. You know, my life is forever changed when I got on YouTube. And so I'm super passionate about helping people that have never been on YouTube get on YouTube, build sustainable businesses, build 10 streams of income off their core offering, you know, get $1 million in business funding, you know, get the massive credit lines that you've always dreamed to have. Because when you have this leverage, that's really what it is. It's called leverage. When you have this leverage, you can accelerate time. And when you can accelerate time, then you can buy back your time. And when you can buy back your time, now you can start doing the things that most people always dream of can do, but never can do. I'm in Bali right now. I'm getting ready to travel the world. Zanzibar, India, Dubai, all over the place. I'm Singapore. Like, it doesn't, like, I'm going to be traveling the entire world, building my business around the world. And it's literally because of the decisions that I've made that allows me to do that. Right. And my biggest decision has just been serving people. Right. You want to be a millionaire, serve people, serve 1 million people. That's it. Don't take from 1 million people, serve 1 million people, because what you sow, you shall reap. Right. And so, man, like, I'm super, like, between you and I, Irv, man, I'm very, like, humbled for our friendship. We've built a really strong bond in the last year. People don't really understand how close we are. We're brothers, bro. We protect each other. You know, we look out for each other. When we see, you know, we discern spirits, right? Like, we're looking for the grass cut low so we can see the snakes coming. Like, he'll be like, watch out for this person. I'll be like, watch out for this person, because we want to have each other's back, because we have the same mission, right? The same mission is loving people and launching dreams, right? His purpose in business credit, helping people really build out massive. You think he can cover everything in business credit in 20 hours of content this month? You're crazy. This man builds out frameworks for real estate investors and real estate agents and truckers and e-com. And he puts together these entire frameworks that are super customizable. So guys, he's not somebody that's regurgitating this information. This is something that he, like, eat, breathes, and sleeps, right? I don't eat, breathe, and sleep business credit. I love the community aspects of building coaching programs and building relationships and bridging connections, right? My zone of genius is completely different than business credit. So when it comes to business credit, if I'm going to bring business credit to my people, I know enough to be super dangerous and more than most people, but I want to bring the absolute best to the people that I love the most, which is my community. And that's why Irv is here all month dropping this. Guys, next week is literally going to be a call that you have never dreamed of. I don't know if we're going to open it up or not. Him and I still have to have that conversation. But if we do open it up, you better be in the room, because there's going to be literally a Zoom max out at a certain number, right? And we're going to actually talk funding frameworks that even funding companies don't know about. Okay. And like I said, we haven't decided yet. We have to be in agreement of everything that we do. We don't know if we're going to open that up or not. Okay. But be in the room if we do. because that call literally will change your life. Okay? Keep rocking, bro.
100%. I love that. So,
but we got to build the frameworks, right? We have to show them the top. We have to show them how the bureaus work before we get into all the sexy funding. This call right here is literally, guys, this is more of a gift to you than the funding, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah. If you get this right here, it's like everything else is cake.
Right. So even if we don't open up the funding call for everybody, this call right here is literally how to build the framework, how to build the house, how to build the foundation. So that way your house can stand on the rock through one of our biggest economic disasters of all time. And it's going to get a lot worse. So guys, this is actually a bigger blessing to you because we're actually teaching you how to fish on this call so that next week you can throw your line in and just, catch freaking trout and tuna all day.
I love it. I love tuna. But anyways, where business credit cards report. Now, before I give the next slide, Rad, because usually when this happens, there is an explosion in the room. And by explosion, I mean, I have those cards and they've never reported there. I get it. I have some of these cards too, and they don't report there either. I'm just going off of the majority data points that I've been able to capture from the bankers that I've been able to speak to, from some of the clients that I've kind of been able to survey, from some of the forums that I've been in. So I'm giving you just raw data points of the majority, right? Sometimes the majority is not the end-all rule, but in this case, I'm going to sway toward the majority of where these cards are going to report based off of the surveys and the data that I've been able to capture. So with that said, here we go. Issuer, American Express, Small Business Financial Exchange is where they typically report. From there, it funnels over into Dun and Bradstreet. Sometimes it indirectly reports over to Dun and Bradstreet. But if you notice, I don't have Dun and Bradstreet on here because remember what I said earlier on in the call. Dun and Bradstreet is vendor accounts. These are financial accounts, which is why it's Experian, Equifax, Small Business Financial Exchange as a furnishing company, not as a bureau. Again, clear distinction there. Remember, they're a trade association. Bank of America, Small Business Financial Exchange, where the data furnishes, and then from there it flows. Capital One, Experian, and Capital One, Experian, Small Business Financial Exchange. Chase, across the board. And again, you guys open for discussion, by the way. Let me know in the chats if you have any. And by the way, these are business cards. These are for the business side. So if you guys have business credit cards already with any of these companies, let me know in the chats because we can continue to add to the survey, right? And continue to rack up some data points. Let me know, hey, well, I have a Capital One and it actually did report over to my Experian business, not personal, over to my Experian business. I actually did see that report. Chase, it's going to be Experian, Equifax, Small Business Financial Exchange. Citi, Experian, Equifax, SBFE. Discover, it's Experian and Equifax. PNC, it is Experian and Small Business Financial Exchange. And then Wells Fargo, Experian and Small Business Financial Exchange. Remember, this is for the business side, not for the personal side. So as you're kind of running through these, but I wanted to take it one step further. Business credit cards that do not report to your personal credit. And then I also have some of them on there that do. Screenshot time. Check this out. So card issuer on the left, reports all info to personal credit report. That's the first column. Reports only negative info to personal credit report. Middle column. Let me move my mouse. Reports activity to business credit bureaus. That's this column right here. Amex seems to be the more popular one. So reports all info to personal credit report. We know that that's not true. We know that they report typically once you've been late for 60 days. Some people say, hey, it's usually 120. They've been getting a lot more aggressive right around that 60-day mark. If you just haven't been paying your payments on time, that's when that PG starts to bite you in the butt because now they report that late payment over to your personal, not just over to your business. Reports only negative info. Yes. So they only report negative information over to both sides, not just to your business. At that point, they report over to your both sides. Reports activity to the business credit bureaus. Yes. I want to talk about one, though, that a lot of us are familiar with, and that is with Barclays. Some of them with their Barclays card, right? Reports all info, both to personal and to business. Similar to Discover, it is going to be the same thing, right? Do they report only negative information? No. Discover, do they only report negative information? No, because remember, they report all information. This is why I'm breaking down some of the more popular choices that we have here. And then reports activity to business credit bureaus. Yes. So for the most part, everyone that I have on here is a yes. So again, I think that this is a good moment for you guys to kind of screenshot and see, okay, are they reporting all of my information? If it's a no, okay, good. I'm in the clear. That means it's only on my business side. If it's a yes, then take heed. That means they're reporting over to your personal side and over to the business side, which again, Capital One, a lot of us know, especially if you've been around some of our programs, we talk about them a lot, the Capital One Spark. They're reporting over to the personal and they are reporting over to the business as well, which is why I usually say, even though it's an easy slam dunk for you to usually get approved for Capital One, I'd stay away from it because it just defeats the purpose of you separating the personal from the business in terms of the utilization of how you can run it, right? So why and how would you self-report? And by self-report, I'm talking about remember what we mentioned earlier, the self-reporting of trade lines or trade references that maybe aren't being reported over on your business credit profiles. Because sometimes you'll make a payment, you'll make 2 payments, and you'll say, man, this sucks. Nothing's reporting. I followed everything to the Q or everything to the T. Nothing's reporting over on my side, right? Now, this is directly from Experian Business, where they have 500,000 suppliers extending credits, but only about 10,000 of them are actually reporting it. That's directly from Experian Business. Now, with self-reporting, I want to be very clear with this. You can only self-report your trade references, not with Experian, not with Equifax. You can only do it with Dun and Bradstreet. So if you're wondering, why would I want to have a trade reference? What is a trade reference versus a trade experience? Here's the difference. Again, nice screenshot moment. Trade reference is a business that gives commercial payment information to Dun and Bradstreet. A payment experience or trade experience is a record of the payment Dun and Bradstreet receives from the trade reference. Trade experiences can carry more weight. Since they report directly from the credit issuer. I don't know about you guys, but I'd like to have a little bit more English on that. So let me break that down a little bit more, even more so, right? Trade experiences means I purchased something, let's say $100 worth of computer paper and ink with Uline. Uline then saw that I paid my net 30 within 25 days. So that means that I was right on time with 5 days to spare. They then said, okay, cool. Irv & Friends LLC made that payment on time. Let's report that on-time payment over to Dun and Bradstreet. Congratulations. I've just received a trade experience. That trade experience that payment experience or trade experience is now going to count as like a little bar to help cushion up my my credit report a little bit more, which means I'm now starting to build up on-time payment history because it came directly from the vendor in this case. However, if I am going with trade references, that means that me self-reporting or the company that's, let's say, reporting, they're just saying that, yes, they've been here. Yes, they bought with us, but there's no actual transaction record being filed through the database. I hope that we caught that because I see so many people buying trade references for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and it is not having the same impact than it would if you had your own trade experiences. I'm going to call out one of the biggest companies that does this.
Do it. And I call them all out, bro. Call them out.
I can call them out because I make my own money. So I don't take affiliates. I don't take sponsorships anywhere on my podcast, anywhere on my platform. I make my own money off of everything that I do. And so they're constantly reaching out to work with me, right? Again, use them for what they are, use them for what they do. Do not let them sell you these trade references. I'm referring to Dun and Bradstreet. Yes, I'm calling out the big boys. Dun and Bradstreet will pretty much have you on these sales calls wanting you to pay thousands of dollars for trade references that's almost subscription style, that the minute that you stop paying for it, they rip them off like a Band-Aid. And now it plummets your Dun and Bradstreet score. And now you're left wondering what the heck is going on. And it's because of that. You don't have real trade experiences. That's not an actual trade line. That's a trade reference. It's a big difference. Now, again, is there a time and a place for trade references? Yes. So if you are, let's say you've been making payments on time to, let's say, a smaller mom and pop shop, And they're just not at the level that they're reporting over to Dun and Bradstreet or over to Experian or over to Equifax, right? Again, you can't do it with Experian and Equifax, but you can do it with Dun and Bradstreet. This is the information that you're going to want to have. I promise you, Rad, no one's ever broken this down the way that this is broken down here, bro.
Let's go, bro.
These are trade references right here that you can add. Again, is it as good as a trade experience? No, because it's not coming directly from the company of the actual invoice being cleared. But this is going to be kind of like in work where, hey, there's a reference. So Rad is looking for a job as an example. So he puts me on the application. He has me as a reference. Hey, I went to school with this guy. We did some charity work together. I'm a reference for him, but that reference can only go so far versus the previous employer that actually recommends him. That's the switch. And that's the correlation that I want you guys to get. That's why a reference is still good, but a payment experience is above it. But at worst case scenario, you still want your references because you still want to get some type of credit reporting on there, even though it's not going to move the needle as much. Current
or another way to look at it, is on your W-2, you have to list the W-2 jobs that you had, right? So it's like, that's your actual trade line. And just another example would be your reference would be people that you worked with as well. So just like what he said, as far as reference from a job employer versus him, like it's even broken down even more so in the sense of your trade line is actually what's legally there, right? Your reference is what is, boom, it's a side. They're both important, they're both necessary, but there's a massive distinction. You're going to keep going over this slide, but can you also, when you're done with the slide, touch on people that are selling, auto trade lines for their businesses and mortgage trade lines for your business? Is this thing a fluff? Is it real? Is it a fraud? If you could speak on that too, you might even have a slide in this deck, but I'm sure people in Facebook communities, because they get hustled in these things, right? People are trying to sell trade lines or trade references to them to build out their business credit. Is this real? Is this fake? If you could speak on that after this, that'd be super helpful. I'm sure for people.
Yeah, no, I got you. So with this right here, trade references, the information you want to have. And by the way, let me give you a real life scenario. Again, let's say you go to mom and pop shop you've been buying from some time. They're a legit company, but again, they're maybe just not savvy with actually getting it reported. You can have this and submit it yourself directly with Dun and Bradstreet, right? Just make sure that the information matches whatever they have over on their side with the mom and pop shop. But current amount owed. So if you have like a total of like a recurring balance, maybe $1,000, $2,500, whatever that amount is, the manner of the payment, this is going to be ACH, credit, cash. Rolling 12-month high credit. This is the highest amount of credit that you've used over the last 12 months. Reporting date or as of date, kind of like the same thing, right? This is the reporting date, the date that, let's say if I were to make the payment on the 30th, then it technically reports, let's say on the 12th, similar to how it would over on the personal credit side. And if you have no idea like how to figure this out, just pull up the invoice, or I usually recommend just stop into the shop, the mom and pop shop where you're at shopping at, and then just ask them to pull that up for you if you're not keeping record of it, which is important that you should. Current total past due, selling terms, and then date of last sale. Now, when it comes to purchasing trade lines, and I kind of group this up into whether it's auto trade lines, mortgage trade lines, and I see them, right? They're like 3, 4, 5, 6 grand, and then they report 50K, 100K, 125, 200K. Trade line over on your business credit report. I'm very watchful of that because a lot of these databases are getting privy to it, where they're seeing that that's not, how do I say this? Remember what we mentioned earlier about all these, they all have a common thread about all these credit bureaus. The common thread there is that you are being kind of scored and judged, or your business, based off of how much credit is being lended out to. And so if there's a huge discrepancy of how come there's a $250,000 line on here and there's nothing else supporting it. And so typically we would, and I say we, I'm talking about the Business Credit Bureau, typically we would have a credit recommendation of 5K, 10K. So how is there a 250K? How is there a $350K $1,000 line reporting on there? And so I'm going to group this up, Rad, into the bunch of whenever people buy shelf corps, right? Okay. I think that it's such a gray area, and because it's such a gray area, I think that there is a right way of doing it, but I've seen more wrong, which is why I usually steer away from it.
Okay.
On buying the trade lines. I've personally never dealt with a client that had it done the right way. So, I mean, that should say a lot. I've never dealt with a client that had it done the right way. Maybe I've been coming across a bunch of idiots that don't know what they're doing, right? Maybe I'm the idiot that doesn't know what he's talking about right now because I put myself in that group. But based off of everything that I've gathered, I've never seen that shortcut work out for someone in the long term.
Wow, that's good, bro. Thanks for dropping that.
I've never seen that shortcut work out for somebody in the long term. And so updating and cleaning your business credit info. I'm going to give you guys a framework. Let me know in the chats if you guys are ready for it.
How you guys liking it, man? Irv is pacing himself. We're going marathon. He's the sprinter. I'm the marathon. He knows when he comes in these calls, we go a long time. All right.
I gotta hype it up a little bit. I gotta get my voice back.
Yeah, they love you, bro. They love you, bro. They had no clue. I love it. I love when people say, "What's in your mentorship?" I'm like, I don't know. Just join. Step out on faith. Let's see what you do. Let's see how much you trust me. All right. I love that. I love that.
And he said, I sent you a copy of this, and I was like, yo, check it out. Let me know if you want me to remove anything. He said, dude, I trust you. I trust you. So I mean, that means a lot. That really means a lot. I had to earn that trust because that's not freely given. You gotta really put some stuff out. And so when he said that, actually made me more nervous because I'm like, okay, now we really gotta come out because then he's gonna be like, no, I gotta check. I gotta check it next week. So, updating and cleaning business credit info framework. Let me give it to you guys. So this is something that you can use for pretty much every major business credit bureau that we've been speaking about today. And I'll put context around it: Experian, Equifax, and Dun and Bradstreet, right? So the way that this is going to work is you are going to shoot off an email with information that you are looking to update. Now, yes, can you go right into the Dun and Bradstreet database or get on a call with an account manager, get it updated? 100%. Can you wait for a account to report and have that information kind of flush through over into the system with Experian and Equifax? 100%. But I always like to have a 2 and sometimes a 3-prong approach where if I don't have access to the account online, can I call in? If I can't call in, can I send an email? If I can't send an email, can I knock the door? If I can't knock the door, can I send the pigeon carrier over their way, right? So with this right here, this would be the exact framework that I would use if you're looking to update that information. So subject line would read, please update my company information for, and then include your business name. Like I'm giving it to you guys right here. I'm giving it to you right here. Email in the body. This is where you write. I know it says wrote, it's a typo. This is where you write a simple paragraph on what you're looking to change or update, which I'm going to give you the exact framework. I'm laying it out right now on the items that you want to include. Try to include as much information about your business as possible. This will show the validation that you are the actual business owner because no one knows more about your business than you do. Here you go.
Wow.
Business name, EIN, DUNS number, your BIN, your owner's name or owner name. You have your, and by the way, your BIN is gonna range. Like sometimes you'll get it over an Experian, sometimes you'll get it over an Equifax. Right on the report, it'll say your BIN right on there, right? Don't confuse that with EIN. That's different. Business address, and if you don't have it, not a killer, but it does help. Company email, business formation dates, business structure, meaning obviously you know who's on it. If you can include your articles of organization, articles of incorporation, like the whole shebang on there, include it. Your state, so where the business is established, NEICS code, NEICS subcode, if applicable. Sometimes you'll also see that listed on the business credit reports. Number of employees, annual business revenue. Rad, I hope that they now see why keeping track of your information is so important and why data is the new oil, bro.
Yeah, document everything, guys, so that way you can keep up because you're getting older. You're not getting younger. So document everything. Screenshot every time you apply for something. Put it in a folder. Personal applications, business applications, so that way when you reapply, you can make sure that these data points even if things change, they change, but at least know what you're putting on these applications because as you can see, these companies are sharing your information without you knowing about it. And especially on the business side, they don't need your permission to do so. They're going to literally just make a ton of money off of your data, and it's what you don't know that will hold you back from the high approval. So please, please, please document everything that you're putting out there on behalf of your business, and know your circle and know who's on these credit apps with you, because their information can also directly and indirectly affect you.
100%. And so we got them on the side: Dun and Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian, LexisNexis, right? Now, creating your own trade lines and comparable credit. I have some thoughts on this, and I want Rad, because I know he has some data points that he probably wants to share on this, but I'll give you guys my thoughts. Having a bank loan is, and when I say bank loan, secured or unsecured, is one of the most powerful ways that you can build out your business credit profile, because you build out that comparable credit. Comparable credit means if I have a $5,000 business credit card reporting on my business profile, other banks see that and they say, okay, if they're giving $5K, we can give somewhere in the range of 3 to 7, as an example. If they see, hey, there's a $10K business loan, business line of credit on there, cool. They trust them with that. Let's shoot them an offer. You meaning your business. Let's shoot them an offer to match that, maybe a little bit above that at a better rate, right? The reason why this is important is because it's going to accelerate the time of when you can start getting some big boy and some big girl funding versus just having a bunch of credit cards. And there's a time and a place for business credit cards. I usually call them like the Swiss, like the Army Swiss knife, where you can kind of use it for everything. But there's certain things that you're going to want to get business loan or business line of credit for. I like business lines of credit because they're like the workhorse of business capital and working capital. I can start extracting money out of there. And I'm going to say this with love. I'm not the biggest MS guy. Rarely have I ever taught on manufacturer spending. Is there a time and a place for manufacturer spending? Yes. But in my opinion, and again, I'm not looking to put anyone down on this. In my opinion, sometimes you get to a point where you just don't want to manufacture spend. If I'm just being brutally honest with you, you get to the point where you're
too busy. I'm too busy for it. I have no time to even go to the store.
You get to the point where you're managing staff, you're managing product, you're watching fulfillment, you're watching social media, or you're creating content for social media. You're out here piecing content together. You're out there serving your network. There's just not enough time in the day where I would want to go out and manufacture spend. Can you do that at one point or another? Especially if you have more time? 100%. I'm not going to tell you how to run your life or your business, but eventually, and again, I say this humbly, we want to graduate from that. We want to get access to a business line of credit where we can then use the funds from the business line of credit without having to do the hustle and bustle where the money's in our account. We don't have to wait, for a refund. We don't have to wait for the cycle to hit. It's just there. And then I can start pumping it back into a project. And for those of us that say, yeah, but there's interest on it. Dude, Rad's 65K, I think at a prime rate of 3.2 in this market. Let that sit for a second in this market, right? And so now he has that available in his account as good as cash. So if you wanted to pump into a real estate deal, if you wanted to pump back into marketing, if you wanted to pump back into actual staff that he can physically pay out payroll, cash, because you can't always use your credit card to cover payroll. Like some apps don't allow you to do it. Like Gusto doesn't let you do it. If you're doing payroll, you need physical cash or actual account that's connected. You can do that with a line of credit. I set that up that way because one of the things that I like to do, and one of the things that I usually recommend, is set yourself up with a business CD account. Now, it doesn't have to be a business CD account. It can be a secured business account, right? Where you now have, let's say, and we're going to use simple numbers here. Let's say I have $1,000, right? And everything that I'm about to say is on the screen. I'm just going to verbalize this for you. Let's say that I have $1,000. I open up a business CD account. I then open up that business CD account for $1,000. That money now becomes frozen on there. The bank now issues me, let's say, a term on that payment that I have to make every single month, right? Let's say it's, example, I don't know, $55 a month as an example for me to make that payment. You're probably thinking, okay, I'm using my own money though, in order for me to pay my own money back. Yes, here's why. When that account goes to report over to the business credit side, it reports as unsecured. And so it almost flies under the radar to the banks, to the credit unions, that when they go to take a look at your business credit profile, they say, oh, wow, Bank XYZ, which I'm going to give you guys a slide here in a second of which bank I like to do this with. Bank XYZ issued a $1,000 business loan to this company, right? After, and it ranges from bank to bank, sometimes 6 to 24 months. This is why you'll want to do your due diligence on this, because it does range between 6 to 24 months. That money that you have sitting inside of your frozen account, which in this case is like the CD or that business or that loan that you secured, now becomes unfrozen. So they give it back to you. You can then use that account or use at least 90% of those funds, 95%, to pay off the remaining balance. And then you just have a 5% utilization reporting over to that side, right? So you've now gotten your money back and you built up some credit along the way. I know that a lot of us are familiar with this method because I know Rad's talked about it on his channel. This is the Navy Fed pledge loan method. But you can use that same framework inside of the business credit realm. These are some of the go-to products that I would usually recommend. And one of the rare times.
This is the word.
Were you good?
Bro, they don't even know the information they're getting. Like, so many people are like about secured credit cards for businesses, because I talk about that. Literally, guys, this is where you invest in your business credit. Yes. Okay. This is where you put money in the bank and let the bank make trade lines for your business. Yes. So you can then get more funding for your business without doing all this crazy shit. Okay. Look, implement, execute, make it happen, guys. And even if you don't have great credit, you can work on your personal credit while you build out the business credit with secured funding and credit partners and all types of stuff. There's lots of ways to get the job done. We got to be radical marketers. Say, the mainstream says X, Y, and Z. How can I get this done by thinking outside of the box, not being a robot, and get things done? Being a problem solver, learning to solve problems, learning to find solutions will make you a very rich person. Just because people say it can't be done doesn't mean it can't be done. Also, be very, very mindful of who you're taking advice from. Are you taking advice from people that have business credit, or do they not have business credit? I mean, why are we listening to financial advice from people that have never made money, have crap credit, have made horrible life decisions, and have no business credit? Why are we taking financial advice from them? Why? Because the same people telling you, killing your dreams, saying it can't happen, it must be a fraud, must be a scam, all this is irrelevant, because literally they don't even know what they're talking about. Take advice from people that are qualified to give it in specific areas of your life, especially financial advice. Okay, because this is all entertainment purposes anyway, but this is not financial advice. This is our entertainment to you. Okay, this is our disclaimer to you. When you guys join this mentorship program, we already told you this is not financial advice. You could take this and double check the data points and all that. Guys, listen, man. This right here, what he's giving you, guys, we could be, guys, this like what Jerry Spence said, my boy from New York. This right here is worth so much money that most programs that you join won't even give you this information because they don't know it. They don't know it because they're copying other programs. They don't have this information firsthand. They don't have these relationship bankers. They have know nothing about this stuff. So when you buy these programs, make sure you're not buying it from a parrot. Remember, scout out the parrots. I love parrots, but there's a lot of parrots in the game. So when you see them, put the parrot emoji, okay? So you can let other people know it's a parrot.
I love it. Go-to banks. Wells Fargo would be one of the only reasons why I would even recommend Wells Fargo would be for this, because the barrier of entry is so low. It's $500 is where they start. A lot of other places, they start at $5K, $3K. You got to be, your LLC has to be aged for at least 6 months before they even consider it. New LLC, as low as $500 with Wells Fargo. Bank of America, secured business credit card. That would be a good look for you. You can fund that. I believe they start at $700. Sometimes they move the target. I've seen it as low as $500. Like Rad said, though, this is one of those things where you always want to cross-reference, because the interesting thing about the credit world is that targets move, especially as the economy moves. It's closely tied to the economy. So the numbers that I give you today, again, depending on when you're watching this, whatever they say on the website is what it is. It's not what I'm giving you right now in real time. Fleet Core, because I have a mega play for you guys with Fleet Core later on today, and then Tilful.
Hope you guys, hey guys, I'm already into 2 coffees. I've got a whole McDonald's bag. Jerry, they got New York, they got McDonald's out here in Bali. I'm literally, guys, I'm staying up all night, guys. We have a 4 to 5 hour masterclass to drop, and then we got Q&A. Tell me somebody else that does it. Listen, we're trying.
I think we're already past the how long it took last week, bro.
I know, guys, we're talking our shit tonight because we are so tired. Listen, when you have a problem to solve, you are passionate about it. Irv and I are so over the BS that we're saying, let's put our geniuses together and work together in our communities, in our platforms to help people out. Because even if we never know your name, even if we never talk to you again, at least we did our job as great humans to literally just serve you. Whether you're a client or not, doesn't matter, right? If you're in our space, place, and energy vicinity, our job is to serve you. That's all we're called to do, is serve people. We're rewarded for serving people. But the bottom line is, whether you pay us or not, we're going to serve you. It's just, what capacity does that look like, right? So just understand that our heart is to serve everybody. Our heart is to message back everybody. If you email me, if you DM me, my heart says I want to answer back. The realistic answer is I can't afford to answer back everybody. I have to prioritize my inbox for people that have paid me in a way that they require my attention. I have to be mindful of people in different containers. I don't withhold any information. This is all information. I will give you this information all day, every day. The information is free. It's not for sale. Okay. The transformation, the access to me, the community of my network, the community of my mentees. This is something sacred, special, and holy. Okay. I said the word holy. Something special, sacred, and holy. It's not for sale. The platform doesn't have people and bozo clowns on it. Okay. Literally, this is a special, special place. Irv's community is a special, special place. Irv barely has people on. I like to have more people on just because my scope is just a little bit different than his, right? I'm helping people build real businesses. Part of that is getting credit, but other part is taxes. Other part is content creation. If people can't find you, they can't buy from you. Credit is just one thing in business. Funding is just one thing in business. If you don't make revenue, you have no business. If you don't have a system that is scalable, you have no business. And they don't teach you this in school. You learn this from the school of hard knocks, from people that have got it out the mud, that made a ton of mistakes, that made a ton of right calls too. Okay. So this is a special place. If you're brand new here, listen, forget it. I'm going to tell you guys, if you want into this program, join this program. And here's why, because if I didn't invite you in, you could be left out. So Rain, keep dropping the link in the chat. Let's get people in here. If you want to sign up, just sign up. Use your credit card. It'll be the best $1,500 you ever paid, and write it off in your taxes. Because what you're going to learn in here, we already have 50 to 60 calls like this in the program at 5 hours long, at least. Okay, do the math on that. It's like what, $3-5 an hour with all of the type of stuff we have. Guys, the community is incredible. If you're not involved in a community like this, you're literally missing out. Join today. Keep going, bro. Let's keep covering this.
Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Fleet Corp, which keep an eye on that because I got something special for you guys, and Tilful. Now, with Dun and Bradstreet, you want to have at least 3 to 5 accounts reporting, which brings you to about a 70 on the Paydex score. This is typically where vendor and supplier accounts are going to report 60 to 90 days to start actually seeing the account reporting. So I need you to be patient when you are going through this process. This isn't like a PG where you apply, boom, boom, you got the card, right? Time and a place. If you want to take this route seriously, just got to be a little bit patient. 60 to 90 days, baseline. The sooner you get on this, the quicker you start to build. Experian and Equifax, you want to have at least 2 to 3 accounts reporting. This is going to bring you outside of the auto failing score that they give you for not having anything on there to begin with. And so their accounts, whenever they report, again, one of the fastest ways you can change your information on there is either A, use the framework that I gave you earlier, shooting off that email, or B, when you make that payment, if it's updated already with the creditor or with the vendor that you have, things like your LLC name, maybe if you have a new EIN, a new business phone number, like whatever that is, when you update it with the vendor, or the creditor, it gets updated inside of the Experian and Equifax business, like we covered earlier today. This is typically where financial accounts are going to report, like business credit cards. Banks are sometimes going to check both your personal and your business credit profiles to determine your credit worthiness. Me and Rad were actually talking about this. I did a funding play on, who was it, Rad? It was Fifth Third Bank.
Yep.
And I think they checked Experian personal and Experian business for a client. And the only reason that they knew that Experian business was pulled is because their NAV shot off an alert. And then when they looked at the bank, it told them Fifth Third Bank. So something to keep in mind, 100K, yes, it was PG, but it was no doc because Stellar Personal Credit and Stellar Business Credit was attached to it. Again, no doc. That means that you didn't have to show any type of tax returns or any type of bank statements. Now, business credit based on a tier or level guide.
Real quick,
because
we keep saying business line of credit. Can you, like, in 5 minutes or less, explain the difference between a business loan and a business line of credit and why a business line of credit is better than a business loan?
Okay. So,
just so it lands with people in the room that maybe keep saying line of credit, credit cards, I got loans. Like, just
it's interchangeable. I see your point. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do it. So business credit cards, business loans, and business lines of credit, they sound similar and people use them interchangeably, but they're different. A business credit card is essentially that one plastic that you have where you can swipe, right? So the issue that you have with that, or actually the pros on this, I'll go pros and cons. The pros that you have with a business credit card is that I call it like an Army Swiss knife, right? Where you can use it for just about any transaction, as long as it doesn't really require you to dump some of that into real estate where you have to use it for a down payment, because at that point, you have to get creative pulling the money out. You guys are in this community. You guys are smart. So that's the route you wanted to take. You can go ahead and do so, right? Again, the pros with it is that you could essentially use it for just about anything. And it's one of the easiest things to get because it usually goes off of app only, AKA no doc, AKA stated income, which means whatever you put on the application, that's what they're going to go off of as long as your personal credit score is intact. And the secondary, your business credit score being intact. So whether you are a startup on day one or year one, business credit card is going to be your go-to because it's the lowest barrier of entry, which is why funding companies tend to use that method over anything else. Your business loans and business term loans, that's when it gets a little bit more intricate, because then at that point, that's essentially, it's a loan. And so that's what we call like a lump sum of money that's hitting your account, but it's not revolving, it's an installment. So if you have a $60,000, let's say, business loan that hits your account, is that fantastic for building business credit? Yes. Is that fantastic for a real estate project, construction? 100%. The only issue, though, the downside, remember, is pros and cons. The downside to having that is that once you pay that off, that's it. It's gone. You have to go back out and get another loan. Business lines of credit, however, it's like the best of both worlds, which is why me and Rad are talking so much about business lines of credit. And we're going to continue to talk about business lines of credit on our channels. And we're going to continue to bring you guys more content even next week when we're talking about funding frameworks, is because with business lines of credit, it's like the best of both worlds. One, you usually get a much lower rate on a business line of credit than you would on a business loan. That's a given. The second thing is that it's as good as cash, meaning once that line of credit hits your account, you can extract from it, and then you only pay interest on the amount that you are using, not on the total lump sum. So if I have a $100,000 business line of credit and I take out $25,000 for a project that I'm working on, for payroll, for my construction guys and gals in the room, right? We know that we're usually future pacing projects where we have to pay for those projects in advance out of our own pocket. I can use that $25,000 business line of credit to future pace that project. And then as money's coming in, I'm only paying interest. So let's say in Rad's case, 3.5 on a prime rate on the 25K that I took out, not on the 100K that I have. And you can also use the interest that you pay as a tax deduction as well, because none of this money is taxed anyways. Does that make sense?
Bars, bro. Keep rocking.
Good deal. So Experian, Equifax, and business. I think we pretty much just covered it. But the main thing with them, 2 to 3 accounts, I want to get you guys out of jail, meaning out of that auto-failing score. This is what a lot of people would call tiers, right? Not like tear drops, but tiers, like levels. I like to call it levels, but I use both words, tiers or levels. So if we're looking all the way on the left side, which I think the majority of us is kind of feeling the room out, we're going to land between 1 and 2, right? So this means that you've done 100% lender compliance. If you have no idea what 100% lender compliance is, check out the call that we did last week on the quick recap that we did. You're 100% on that. Dun's number is established. Your Dun and Bradstreet, your Dun and Bradstreet and Experian info is correct. You have at least 1 month in time in business. You have a business account that's currently open, not closed. So show of hands, how many of us are in this column right now? Drop a 1 if we are, and don't say anything if you're not. Let me know, bro.
Lots of 1s.
Good deal. So then I'll say this. On tier 2, 3+ Dun and Bradstreet and Experian trades already reporting, at least a $500 trade line already reporting. You have a Paydex and IntelliScores already started. Now, this doesn't mean that you're in the green. It just means that it's already started. 3+ months in business and 3+ months, say that 100 times, 3+ months banking activity. How many of us are in column 2?
We got some 2s.
Okay, good deal. Going into 3, and sometimes I group up 3 and 4 together with some of the accounts that you'll usually start qualifying for, but I'm going to keep them separate here because of some distinct differences. So with 3 is you have 5+ accounts with on 3 with prerequisites for tier level 3. At least one of the accounts is $2,500 or more. You have a 60+ on the Paydex and the IntelliScore. You have at least 1 year in business and your mid-bank rating. This is why it's important to pay attention in class, because we spoke about that last week. Your mid-bank rating is at least a 4. How many of us are in tier 3?
We got 1, 2.
And no shame. Like if you're not there yet, that's why you're here on a Thursday with me.
Yep.
Right? That's why you're here. Like you're investing your time, you're investing into this, right? And even if it's free, like you're investing your time into this to get the most out of it. Tier 4, 10+ accounts, Dun and Bradstreet and Experian trades. Right? We can also group in Equifax in there as well because I like to add them. So let's say we have 5 accounts with Dun and Bradstreet, and then let's say we have like another 3.5 accounts, whatever that math is, between Experian and Equifax, because that'll get us out of the red with them. At least 1 account being $5,000, so on the trade line, and 80 on the Paydex, a 76+ on the IntelliScore, and then at least 2 years time frame in business, and then a low rank or a low 5 for the bank rating. How many of us are in 4? And then I'll give you like a little tip here.
We got some 4s, but you know what I think I got a gem for you, Irv.
What do we got?
I think you need to develop with all of this business credit, the Insight app. And on the Insight app, people input their information of where they're at in their business, and they get a credit report for their business. How many people would love to have him develop a business app where you can put in your information and you're going to get IrvOfficial's diagnosis of your business based off all of this information that you received tonight? Would that not be the best? Bro, you could do a free app and a paid version on the App Store. You know how many people would, bro, I'm about to get you into SaaS.
Bro, you're getting me into SaaS, bro. Come on.
Bro, the Insight app. And on the Insight app, then there could also be, so there'd be 2 things. First of all, there's a free one. You got to get them in for free because they got to test it out. Make sure you're not a scammer. You know how people do, right? And then they have a paid version, maybe $4.99, right? Bro, I bet you get 10,000 signups on this app with all the credit communities, right? Boom, there's $50K a month right there. And on top of that, maybe there's a membership program to the Insight Inner Circle and to the mastermind, all right there with all of your YouTube guys. The Insight app, bro, is coming. I can tell it's coming.
I'm going to send you a message off of this.
Off air, we need to talk and mastermind about the Insight app, because imagine the amount of information that you know about business credit. And if we can develop some proprietary system that would actually give them a real answer and not a fluff answer that these other people are giving, like say, this is your PayNet score, this is your SBFE, this is your business Equifax, all of this, Dun and Bradstreet, this is how you fix this is where you go. Bro, the Insight app could be crazy. I'm about to get you into SaaS, bro. Look at these.
You're about to get me in a SaaS, bro. I'm about to move to Silicon Valley now.
Adrian, you. I see you. I'm about to get him in there with me. You see it. Let's go.
I love it. Look, listen, I'm gonna talk to you about that off air, because that is definitely something that I'm like, that could actually work, because we do have a lot of data points on this stuff. But really quickly, like with this right here, I want you guys to know, similar to how it is on an algorithm, is not a one size fits all, right? So if your business, let's say you've been in business for over 3+ years, you'll need far less trade lines, if that makes sense, for you to get bumped into that level 4, because now it's kind of like a swing, right? Similar to how it is when we're talking about personal credit accounts, where maybe you don't have the highest limits on maybe your Amex, but you've been a freaking customer of theirs for the last 15 years. That age and that on-time payment history is going to kind of like supersede and going to go above having these crazy high limits, especially if it's a new account. So this right here, again, it's a basic framework, kind of like a gauge for where you're at, that I want you to play around with. Now, pro tip, while this chart is here, I want you guys to refer back to vendors and accounts. And I have to say this, to vendors and financial account holders or account issuers for their actual requirements, right? The reason why I say this is because some of the data points that we're going to be covering, I'm going to give you guys some kind of like some side steps, for the most part, where your business needs to be in order for you to be able to apply and get approved for some of these accounts. But again, things change at the time of this recording. If you would have asked me this same time 2 years ago, what was the main source for non-PG, EIN only, I would have told you WEX. WEX has since been PGing. WEX PGs. WEX has since been PGing. No way around it. And so even with some of the data points that I give you, they could change that. But as of right now, they're causing people to PG. So with that in mind, that disclaimer in mind, adding trade lines and non-PG business credit cards, bro. I got
talk to them, bro.
I got to juice
the real. So first of all, let's put a disclaimer out there. Your favorite YouTubers out there, we love all of them. Okay, well, we don't love all of them, but we like some of them. Okay, we love some of them. Listen, guys, let me just give you a breakdown for how this works.
Yes.
You make a business credit video, right? You say 100,000, no PG, meaning no responsibility. You can run off with the money and scam them. Okay. I'm being facetious. Okay. But it gets clicks. The no PG crowd, the no PG crew, it gets clicks. But what they're not telling you is that you get these glorified charge cards that have crappy rewards that aren't even better than your regular American Express that you can PG, like a business gold card that can really help you in your business, or a business platinum card, or a Chase Business Ink card. These are better cards, people, than your divvies, than your Capital on Taps, than all of these. The only reason why you want a divvy or another card is that it would report to business credit, which would be a trade line for you. That is the only reason, because these cards are just glorified charge cards, meaning you can't carry a balance without astronomical interest. I could easily pitch this stuff on my channel and get paid $300 a sign up, $200 a sign up. Think about the money I could make by selling my integrity, saying no business credit, right? Like literally no PG. Like I could easily be one of these parrots, okay? I could easily be one of them, okay? But I'm not one of them. And neither is Irv. We love business fintech cards that don't report to personal credit. We like that. We also like it that report to business credit. We like that. If you can carry a balance, that's even better. But we are very truthful about our stance with fintech companies. There's a need for them. There's a place for them. Given. This is the only way. If they report to business credit to help you build your profiles. Yeah. Okay. Because those are better than net 30s, in my opinion. Why? Because now you're not paying Granger and Quill and Squill and all these other, things out there, because it gets expensive. So if you can leverage these fintech cards that build business credit, that is the only reason why I'd even have them. Mm-hmm. Because the rewards are crappy, the APR is trash, and they're just, if it helps you separate your business from your personal, let's have a conversation and show you how a Business American Express one can do that. Okay. Because the bottom line is there's a lot of other better options out there. Okay. There is a small need for them. The only need that I see is not reporting to personal credit, keeping your utilization low, some cash flow reasons, and reporting to business credit. Other than that, I'm not for them, but that is the only reason why we're even talking about them on this call. Yeah. Is because there is a small need for them. There is a need for them, but it isn't the need that everybody's making it out to seem. What'd you say, Irv?
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. Yeah, no,
think back to the show, bro. You're Batman. I'm Robin tonight. You
Batman. The thing with that is, and I'll continue here with you guys so we can pace it. But the thing with it is, I think a lot of people go the EIN route or the no PG route because we just don't want to confront the beast. The beast is our credit sucks. Our personal credit sucks. Like, let's be real. And I have a ton of these conversations with people. I ask, hey, what's the main reason? Irv, honestly, dude, my credit sucks. I don't think I'm ever going to get out of this thing. I messed it up when I was younger. And I think that PG or non-PG is the only way out because I have some decent cash flow. But then I tell them, dude, name me one card where you're going to be able to carry a balance. No one can name me a card where you can carry a balance. Not one. Right? And so when you have that in mind, you start to wonder, okay, let me just get my personal credit right so that I can really squeeze the most as I can for funding alongside my business credit. Remember, and I said it earlier on in the call, you want to have both personal credit and business credit. It's like having a strong, healthy body, strong arms, strong legs, strong core, the whole 9 yards. Because if not, you're going to be asymmetrical. If you guys know anything about fitness, when you're asymmetrical, that's when injuries happen. Same thing in business. If something's off in your business, it's, you're spending too much on marketing, but the product sucks, you're bleeding. If your product's great, but no one knows you're not spending enough on marketing, you're only selling to like 2 clients a month, right? So everything needs to be dialed in, which is the whole purpose of this. Level 1, I want you guys to start building this out like as soon as you get off the call. If you're looking to take this seriously, right? I don't need you to spend a lot of money on trade accounts. You just want to get it to a threshold where it's starting to report. Because remember, banks aren't just looking at your personal. The whole point of this is you're still going to use your personal. Like, I'm not getting away from that at all. But you want to also have as a supplement the business credit so that if maybe the personal credit isn't as strong, you have a little bit more pull here, right? Versus it being like this or it being like this. So you want to have both dialed in. Add at least 3 to 5 accounts from level 1 that I'm about to show you. When you make a purchase, I want you to do it, and I suggest that you do it inside of net and credit terms. This is essentially how it's going to get reported. So that way you're getting actual trade lines and not trade references. Now, this number right here, 75 still works. But if I'm being honest with you guys, you're going to have to drop a little bit of dough, at least $100. And I know that this is what we want to hear. And this is why Rad doesn't like net payments. This is why I don't like nets. But I teach it. I talk about it because there's this obsession with it. And there's a time and a place for it as well. Like I said, I've changed my stance on nets, on net accounts and EIN only accounts, just because I have a couple of clients where they actually use this stuff pretty heavy inside of their businesses. But outside of that, I'd say 90% of the people, you're obviously going to just go straight PG. But for this one, you're going to want to eat the frog and just bite the bullet on this one. Again, 30 to 90 days is usually what it takes for this to start reporting, onto your credit. Let's get to work. So with level 1, we have Quill Office Supplies. Drop a 1 in the chat if you guys have heard of Quill. I hope that you have, because Quill is up there with Granger, with Suma, with HD, with Tiger. Let me know in the chats. What are they saying, bro? If they haven't heard of this, then my God.
We got ones all over the board here.
Good. So with them, right, you want to have at least $100 at your kind of like your prerogative on what you want to spend this money on. Obviously, make it in line with what your business needs. Don't just go out and buy a tent just because you just want to put something on your credit. Go out and do something that you actually need with it. If it's batteries, let it be batteries. If it's folders, let it be folders. If it's ink, let it be ink. I think just office stuff, overall admin is probably the easiest one to get away with. Is it overpriced? 100%. 100% the stuff is overpriced. But the whole point of it is to get that trade line actually reporting, versus if you just went to like Office Depot and just bought it like a one-off, or if you went to Walmart and you just bought it like a one-off, or if you went to Target and bought it like a one-off. You might as well, you're going to spend that money anyways. You might as well get some credit for it. So again, 75 is typically the number that you would typically work with, but ideally $100. And now a lot of these companies are getting really savvy. So what that means is they want to see you returning at least, that's why I put the target of 30 to 90 days. They want to see you return at least 2 to 3 times after you've paid your first round of invoices before they actually extend any kind of credit. This means what you see on your screen right here, with you prepaying orders, that means that it's flowing out of your pocket. It's you paying $100 that you're adding to the account that you pay through, let's say, your own ACH or through your own personal or business credit card. If you're not at that level, just say you have business credit cards, before they start giving you, excuse me, an actual invoice that they can start reporting that trade line through. Now, I gave you guys a few data points on the bottom. They report to Dun and Bradstreet. Quill reports to Dun and Bradstreet. Quill also is on a net 30 basis. Your entity needs to be in good standing. And you'll see this as a common thread for the majority of them. So I won't like beat a dead horse unless there's a big difference for getting approved. Entity obviously needs to be in good standing. So you can check your Secretary of State for that. EIN number with the IRS is up to date. Your business address matches everywhere. You have a DUNS number. You have business licenses if applicable. Side note, if you have a business license, it's always good to ask, hey, I have a business license inside of X or inside of, and then insert business. So I have a business license for my barbershop. I have a business license for my salon. I have a business license as a studio producer, whatever that is. Sometimes they'll give you a higher credit line so that they can earn your business. Something to keep in mind. They'll ask you for a copy of it and you can provide that. It's a nice little touch that you guys can get an extra piece of credit for. If you have a new business or for new businesses with no credit history, again, you just may need to prepay some of your purchases since you're not going to get a net 30. Essentially, that means that you're just going to pay it out of pocket. And then once day 60, day 90 comes around, that's when they extend out the actual net 30. Shirtsy is the next one. They report over to Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, and Creditsafe. So we're not getting the trifecta. We're getting the quadfecta, if that's an actual word. If you guys have no idea what Shirtsy is, think of this hat right here. You've never seen this hat anywhere else. I hope not, because it's essentially like our logo, right? And so let's say that I am having a convention and I wanted to order 100 of these hats that I'm going to be thrown off into the crowd after everyone gets excited about business credit, after everyone gets excited when Rad kills the stage, talking about how to grow your audiences. We're going to throw these hats out and then we're, going to have a good time, right? These hats, I possibly purchased them over on Shirtsy. Maybe I have shirts that I made specific to the event that I did. So I want you guys to start thinking the radical way, right? I want you guys to start getting creative. Why would I use any of these accounts? The reason why a lot of people don't use it is because it's not cool. And so you have to make it fit inside of your business. And so the way that you make it fit inside of your business is you get creative. It's, again, the radical way, right? That's why I love when he says, guys, this is the radical way. Guys, this is the radical approach, because it fits so well into everything that we're talking about. And so if I'm, let's say, going to be rocking with Shirtsy, I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to be having this event, this quarterly event. We're going to have some masterminds. We're going to have some events where we're going to be, let's say, at our kids' school. We're going to be donating, some events that we're going to be doing for the community. I would want to see my business make those purchases through Shirtsy, so that way I'm getting the actual credit versus maybe just buying it off of someone who's not going to report it for me, right? Maybe me just printing it myself at home. Is that going to save you a couple bucks? Possibly. But are you going to get anything on the back end? No. I want everyone to think long-term. Now, there is going to be a actual annual fee in order for you to start accessing some of the reporting. That's going to be $99. But the good thing with this is that if you have exceptional credit, so if you want to put your personal credit on the line on something like this, they may check that. So that way you can waive it. Again, if you don't want your credit checked, or if you really want to go the non-PG route on this one, you're just bite the bullet, $99 in a year in order for you to start getting this account so that you become a member. You can start making those purchases. Now, to qualify for net 30 terms, I have it right here. A business must meet the following criteria. Must operate inside of the U.S., which I think is 100% of us, at least 90 days owed No derogatory credit or delinquencies must have an EIN, right? Like I said, a lot of this stuff is going to be similar across the board, but I'll read you the bits and pieces where it's a little bit different. NAV. How many of us have NAV accounts? Drop a 1 in the chat. And if you don't, I'm going to implore you to open a NAV account as soon as we get off this call, even if it's the free one. What do we got, bro?
Tons of ones. NAV is a game changer, guys.
I actually like NAV. I know that a lot of people, they talk smack about it because it's not the most accurate. I get it. But it is a game changer when you're sometimes on a budget and when you're just doing a quick monitor check. Like I mentioned earlier, my client would have never known that they pulled his Experian business had it not been for the alert that NAV gave him. Because again, they're not going to tell you. And so I'm going to recommend that every single person on this call gets NAV. Let's take it a step further. I'm going to recommend that you get the business boost or the business loan builder. So that way you can get access to your FICO SBSS score, which, by the way, when you're building out your Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax on the business side, it's also going to indirectly help you with your FICO SBSS, which is why I have it there, right? Pro tip, though, with this is, again, since it's on a subscription, you are allowed, at least at the time of this recording, up to 5 accounts that you can watch and monitor for each login. So let's say if I have 1 login, meaning 1 subscription, and I have 4 different LLCs that I'm monitoring closely, I can submit all of those inside of the same login. However, the only account that's actually getting the boost for, again, Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax is going to be the account that I'm paying for. So if I have Irv and Dan LLC, right? And that's the one that we want to boost. We can have maybe 4 or 5 other, or I can have other 4 or 5 accounts inside of that same account that I can monitor. But the only one that's actually getting boosted is Irv and Dan LLC, not the other ones. I wanted to make a clear distinction on that because, you know, sometimes you'll say, but wait a minute, I thought that I had 5 accounts for the $49. No, if you want credits for all 5 accounts, it'll be $49 a pop or $59 a pop, however much you're charging right now. And then from there, you got to obviously make a judgment call. Start off with the LLC that you want to fund or that you want to build the classes.
Is there a certain plan you recommend with NAV or no?
I'm sorry, on what?
Is there a certain plan you recommend with NAV or no?
If they're just tracking, then they can just,
is there anything recommendations you have when it comes to that?
If you're just tracking, I would just go with the free account. But if you want to really start, you know, taking it seriously, especially building out some of these peskier ones like Equifax is a little bit tougher to get. Experian sometimes a little tougher to get. Get yourself the business builder. It's a good $59 well spent. Okay. The one caveat that I will say though is because similar to what Tilfo does and similar to what NAV does, again, not knocking their business their business model here because this is how they do it, right? They're practically a free site, kind of like Credit Karma is. And I know this because it was actually a fresh experience inside of my group, is someone had qualified or pre-qualified for a business loan with said bank. And so when I took a closer look, I just flat out told them, I said, hey, look, can you apply for that loan or that line of credit with that bank? Yes, but look really closely. It says that it was suggested because it was advertised. So similar to what it does with Credit Karma, where sometimes, oh, wow, I can apply for a Chase Freedom, or wow, I can apply for a Mercury card, whatever they throw in front of you. And not knocking those brands, just throwing that out there, right? Remember, they're paying to be in front of you. And again, not knocking that business model because that's how these companies earn a living. They pay dollars to be in front of us as consumers, but just know that may not be the best product for you. So that would be kind of like my sidestepper or my thoughts around NAV. But other than that, it's a 100% go for me. I would 100% rock with NAV. eCredible is going to be the other one that I want you guys to seriously consider. Kind of like in tandem with NAV, it's going to boost your Experian and your Equifax the fastest. But check this out. Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, Creditsafe, and Ansonia. Ansonia is a low-key one. I didn't cover them as much here today because they're still tiny. But it is one that if you're just going to get them to report it over to Ansonia, you might as well get it. But again, the ones that we want to focus on are the first 4, Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, Equifax, and Creditsafe. Now, if you're wondering, what is eCredible? eCredible essentially allows you to report your internet. So let's say if it's under your business name or like a utility bill, if it's under your business name, a lease, they allow you to report that over to eCredible. They take that database and they do direct reporting over to the business credit bureaus for you. So the setup fee with them is $49, and then the ongoing subscription is $9.95, right? So it's $9.95. Just make sure that when you are setting it up, you have all the information ready to go, because they're going to ask you to verify it. So, you know, if it's I'll just be real with you guys. If you have a virtual address, like, it's not going to count. It needs to be an actual location, right? But if you work from home, like a little sidestep, if you work from home, you've used part of your, let's say, home area as business use because you're already using it, wink, wink, to write it off on your taxes, right? You got a hell of a CPA on your side. You can then also switch over your internet, or maybe your business or your phone bill, use that as one inside of your EIN. So now you're getting the internet reported, and you're also getting the business phone line as a tax deduction, depending on how much you use. And you're also getting that business phone line off of the last play that we did last week with T-Mobile or with Verizon, where you're bringing in your EIN, you're bringing in your articles of organization, and you're getting a couple of lines under your business, under your business's name, where that's then reporting as a trade line over to the business credit bureaus. That's a nice look. That's a really nice look.
Yep.
And this is on Net 30. What do you think about that, bro?
Crazy. It's a great one.
TILFL, level 1. TILFL is fintech, right? So we just finished talking about them. TILFL, though, it's essentially a secured card. If I'm just being honest with you guys, just putting it bare bones basic. It's a secured card. It's a charge card style. So it's on a monthly basis. So you would essentially create a TILFL account with them, which is one of the requirements. You would then apply for the card, right? So here's just some basic metrics that they're going to look at, some basic data points. So obviously your business is here in the US, valid EIN, incorporated for the last 3 months, not in any restricted industries. They underwrite through Sutton Bank. And you have, again, that TILFL card. Ideally, I think they want to see at least $1,000 in there. I think it used to be 500. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's $1,000 that they now want to see on there. They're reporting to Experian. They're reporting to Equifax. Dun and Bradstreet coming soon. Which again, I don't care too much about Dun and Bradstreet because we can get them anywhere else. Experian and Equifax, though, I want to put it to rest. Anyone that's been struggling with Experian or Equifax, you leave this call today, you have no more excuses. Mm-hmm. Like you have no more excuses. We've given you so many of these accounts. Global Voice Direct, level 1 account. Again, with them is if you wanted to get yourself a virtual phone number, fax, SMS, right? This is going to be the company that you want to go with because they're going to report to Experian and over to Creditsafe. Now, with them, they're going to ask you already, you're going to have to sign up with a annual membership. That's going to be $149 upon your application. They're going to be on a net 30. So if you kind of wanted to kill 2 birds with 1 stone with a virtual phone number and with you getting some type of credit reporting, Global Voice Direct is going to be a good look for you. Again, same thing across the board. Your EIN, your business address, your DUNS number, business license, the whole 9 yard. Now, with level 2, this is where we kind of start to raise the bar a little bit. Instead of having, let's say, 2 to 3 accounts reporting, by this time, you should have at least 4 to 5 accounts reporting, and 2 to 4 of those accounts should now come from level 2. First one on the list is going to be 7-Eleven Fleet Universal. They are going to report over to Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax, right? So with them, a little sidestep is, and by the way, they're going to be on a net 22, which means you have 22 days from the day that you're invoiced to make that payment. But one thing that I wanted to highlight here toward the end is you want to have at least 3 years in business for them or with them, right? If less than 3 years, then you're going to have to PG. The sidestep to that is a $500 deposit. Remember, with cash, you can make anything go away. And what ends up happening is typically, and this varies by creditor or by fleet card, but usually after like 6 months, they usually just give you that deposit back once you've been making payments on time. So it's like you're just paying to play so that you don't have to PG if you wanted to take that route. Valvoline is the next one. Obviously, we're all familiar with Valvoline, especially if we are constantly on the road. We're getting our tires checked. We're getting our oil checked. We're making sure that our check engine light is off. D&B is where they're going to be reporting. Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. They're on a net 22, similar to what we have with 7-Eleven, as you can see, with getting approved. So they're virtually identical. Now, a little pro tip that I have for you here is that with them being inside of the WEX network, you don't want to apply for too many of these too fast. I usually say apply for 1 or 2 within a 24-hour window. Don't shotgun applications with WEX because if not, you'll get flagged. So if you're wondering who's inside of the WEX database, just go to wex.com and it'll tell you like, here's a list of our clients or here's a list of our partners. So that way, you know, hey, if you don't have a 7-Eleven in your area, apply for maybe you have a Mobil or an Exxon in your area. The only thing that changes is the label, right? But they're still underwritten essentially by the same place or inside the same network. Sunbelt Rentals, for those of us that are in construction, for those of us that do maybe some type of landscaping that are inside of residential or commercial type of real estate. This is going to be a level 2. Their reports over to Dun and Bradstreet and Experian. So as maybe you're renting out some of the equipment, it's always a good look for you to get access to some credit while you're at it. It's on a net 22. So as you're making some of those payments, just keep in mind, 22 days from the day that you're invoiced to make that payment. Again, they go off of business bank statements. This is where business or trade references are going to be considered. So if you have trade references, if you have some type of already payment experiences, it's going to be a really good look for you. And then if you're not approved, I usually recommend, hey, just call in because they're a pretty easy account to get approved for. Maybe something was off on the application. So I always say, just call in. Sam's Club MasterCard. Who has a Sam's Club around them? Let me know. Drop a 1 in the chat. Drop a 1 in the chat.
Yeah, ones all
You crashing
day.
on me, bro?
No, bro, I'm not crashing on you, bro. You can't hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Got
some
ones
ones
all long. Yep.
All right. So here's the thing with Sam's Club. I would say the play with Sam's Club is really, I like Sam's Club. I use them just because, right? If you guys ever been to Sam's Club, you guys know one of the best places to go, load up on some food, especially if you have a bunch of kids, turn the house up if you're going to be throwing an event. It's a nice place to bulk up for staff meetings. If you're going to throw an event, the whole 9 yard. They report over to Experian, but they also check your Experian personal, Experian business on a soft pull. If you are, sometimes there's been reports where they say, well, they did a hard pull on me. I just freeze my personal Experian, right? So I would freeze my personal Experian. There's essentially 2 ways that you can get a Sam's Club MasterCard, and this is going to be revolving, right? Which means that you can use it outside of Sam's Club because it has the MasterCard logo. So it's not just inside of Sam's Club. The first way is that if your business has been if you've been in business for at least 2 years, then the trade lines don't matter as much, if at all, if you haven't been in business. So there's 2 types of people. Those of us that have an LLC, maybe we have 1 trade line, right? We don't really have much reporting, but because our business has been established for over 2 years, you'll most likely get approved. But for those of us that we've been in business for under 6 months, this is going to rely heavily on your Dun and Bradstreet and your Experian and Seller score. So you want to have at least 3 trade lines reporting, and you want to be above a 65, I'd say even a 70 over on your Intella score, because if not, if it's on a failing side, you're going to get denied. I like Experian. I like the Sam's Club MasterCard again. Apply in person. Keep your social off of the application. And a little pro tip on top of this is apply on the weekends where they're extremely busy, because now they can't hound you for a ton of information that you wouldn't want to give them anyways that they can probably use against you. Now, Fleet Core funding play. I promise you guys, because I had to prove something to Dan. He said, Irv, there's nothing about some of these no PG cards that would excite me. But I said, you know what? I think I might be able to get at least 1 juicy play for Dan that'll get him up and going. You guys want to hear it or what?
Let's see what you got, bro. Let's see what you got.
Bro, you want to hear this or not?
I want to hear this. Let's see what you got.
Okay, I got one for you. So check this out. So step 1. The Fleet Core card is essentially, you're going to have 2 options, right? You have the gas card, and then you have the business expense card. Now, the thing with this is that you want to use that first card that they give you, which is going to be on a net basis, right? Net 30 basis, for at least 90 days until it builds up both your Dun and Bradstreet and your Experian, right? So you're going to use that gas card, that Fleet card, exactly what it's intended for. You're going to use it at the pumps where they allow you to use them. You're going to write off the mileage on your vehicle. You're going to use the expenses from the gas that you pay, right? That's not exciting to me, though, because we've already seen how we can build out our business credit profiles outside of just using a fleet card. Here's where things get exciting for me. FleetCor, after around 8 to 12 months, remember it's a waiting game, after about 8 to 12 months is going to send you a notice that you can graduate your gas card into a BEC card, which is what we said here, business expense card, which means that you're essentially going to be able to use that card then everywhere else. Now, here's what you want to pay attention to when this happens. You're probably not going to receive a huge amount or a huge increase on your credit if you request it right away within the first 90 days, because you're still kind of building, right? They just graduated you. And so you want to start using that business expense card accordingly, because then this happens. Once you build it up, whatever the amount on the card was on the fleet side, so if it was, let's say 35, 40, 50, 60K, that amount is the amount that graduates over into the business expense.
Oh my God, that's amazing. This is a gem I've never heard before. I love hearing gems I've never heard before. That is amazing. Say that one more time. Can I get some emojis in the chat for this, man? I'm sure y'all haven't heard about this before. Hear this one more time to make sure that they're awake and they heard this.
All right, so check this out, because I know it's been a long day, but check this out. Once that FleetCor card graduates and they send you that invite via email, via letter, you still want to use that card the same way that you would, right? You don't want to ask for a limit too fast, right? You want to use it. And then what ends up happening is when it graduates, whatever the amount was, let's say on the 45K side, it translates the same way that it would for like a Shell gas card. It translates over into the business expense card, corporate side, over for FleetCor. So now you have a business expense card with a MasterCard label. Now what that means is right here with this card, you're able to go into ATM and actually pull cash out of it, which you couldn't before. And now that becomes a revolving line, not just a net 30. And so I hope that they caught that, bro. And I know that
was so good.
I know that we say that toward the end. I know energy levels are down right now, but we're bringing it home. We're bringing it home. Level three. So for this right here, I'm going to kind of bunch up level 3 and level 4, just because they for the most part, the accounts that you can get for level 3 and level 4 are about the same. So I'll kind of group them together, but I just want to give a clear distinction because there's not going to be any slides on this. Level 3 is between 5 to 7 accounts is already reporting. And then once you get to level 4, you have 10 accounts plus. So that's the clear distinction right there. So you want to add 2 to 4 trade accounts from level 3. And then obviously, fill in the rest with level 4 accounts, which we'll be breaking down. First one is BP Business Solutions. That's their fuel card. Same thing, fleet cards. You guys know how I feel about them. I like them for what I just finished breaking down for you guys. A lot of them graduate. Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. They operate on a net 7, net 10, and net 15 for the most part. Everything that we just finished breaking down, your entity needs to be in good standing. You have a business bank account, EIN, you have a DMB number, the whole 9 yard, right? Universal Fleet MasterCard. I like them, and the reason for that is this right here. They eventually do graduate. So you have a net 7, net 15, net 30, and then they graduate into a revolving. Now, the thing with them is that you want to have at least 10 accounts reporting before they can actually graduate you. But overall, even before that, you're going to get it reporting over to Dun and Bradstreet and to Experian. You have Tesoro Commercial Fleet, which means treasure in Spanish. And then with them, Dun and Bradstreet and Experian, again, your business needs to be in good standing. A little difference here is if not approved based on business credit, or if you've been in business for less than a year, then a $500 deposit will make that bad boy go away. Again, you don't have to PG because you're coming up with the $500 deposits. Or if, again, you've been in business under a year, you can just go ahead and PG that bad boy, get access to it. That's on a net 22. Thornton FleetWorks is another one, Dun and Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. Virtually the same guidelines right here. You're on a net 30. HD Supply. With this right here, they are reporting over to Equifax. So for those of us that are maybe in real estate, if we do some type of remodeling, this would be a good place for you to go out, get some supplies. Because one, like Home Depot and like Lowe's, can you get access to those trade lines as well? Yes, I'm just giving you guys options. So I want you to put into the category, I don't have it listed here, Lowe's, Home Depot, and HD Supplies. they're for the most part inside of the same category of the type of how your business needs to be established, usually at least 1 year in business. At least 1 year in business, and you want to have at least a 70 on the PayNet score and a 70 on the Experian. They report over to Equifax. Now, bringing it home, checking UCC filings, because I know that a lot of us had questions about this last week when we were talking about it. So you essentially have a couple ways to check your UCC filings, right? Now, if you have no idea what a UCC filing is, it's let's say I lended Rad $100 to his business and I'm on the bank, right? I put a UCC filing, which means I put a lien on pretty much his credit report over on the business side. And so now whenever he goes out and he tries to get the same $100 or $50 from another bank, those banks see, oh, he already has an outstanding balance somewhere else. That's essentially what a UCC filing is. A lot of us saw that with PPP loans. Now, I always recommend checking for UCC filings before applying for any new business loans or any type of funding programs, just because you don't want to get caught by surprise and you don't want that to be the determining factor. You can check that on your Secretary of State website, right on NAV, or right with Dun and Bradstreet. They'll tell you. Now, when it comes to removing UCC filings, option one, which I think is the most cordial and I would say easygoing, is talk to the creditor, talk to the lender, talk to the vendor, whoever issued that out, especially if you've already paid it or if it was a mistake that the UCC filing should have never been on there to begin with, right? Like, hey, look, I never actually borrowed money or anything from you guys. Like, what gives? I would speak to them first, have them submit a UCC3 filing, which is pretty much a amendment against the UCC1. UCC1 is the paperwork that they originally file when they are creating that loan or that essentially account. And they submit that over to the state, Secretary of State. The second option that you have, and I only want you to do this and really only suggest that you do this, is if you have completely paid off that loan or that account, or if it is outside of the window. So let's say UCC filing should only stay on your report, on your business credit report for no more than 5 years. That would be when you would file the UCC filing directly with your Secretary of State. But again, you only want to do this if it's paid off, if it shouldn't have been there to begin with, or if it's outside of those 5 years. And then option three is hire a local attorney. Now, reclassifying, last couple slides left, reclassifying versus renaming your business. We still awake, bro?
Oh, I'm awake, bro. I'm awake. I'm waiting for the EWS too, because I don't think they know about that.
I'm gonna have to add WS. I don't have it on here, so I may have to either add it on here, freestyle, or save it for next week. What do you think?
So save EWS for next week, and save that for next week.
I got you. We'll save it for next week. They'll get it. Because it's been a lot of information anyways.
And check systems, early warning systems, and check systems, because we got some people in that. I know that they want to know who wants to get off of check systems or wants that information. Put me in the chat. Who wants to know what EWS is? That's a crazy slide, guys. He couldn't add it. Yeah, buddy. Okay, we got that. Okay, next week we'll add that in.
Good deal. So we got reclassifying versus renaming. I love talking about this because a lot of people, business owners, they tend to kind of get these two intertwined and they're not the same. I've seen magic happen when we get these right in businesses. So reclassifying is to assign something to a different category based on certain criteria or classifications. Think NAICS codes. That's the classification. So when we're reclassifying a business, we're shifting around or really changing the actual NAICS code that we're using. When we're renaming a business, that's exactly what it sounds like. We're changing the name of the business into a new one. So instead of being Irv and Friends LLC, we have Irv and Rad LLC. Maybe the classifications stay the same. Maybe we're still inside of consulting. Maybe we're still inside of logistics, but the name changed at that point. I've seen magic happen when we get these two right with businesses, because now they're inside of the right industry and they have a name that's considered low risk. Now, reclassifying 101, change it with banks, state agencies, and business credit agencies. Give you guys an example. With Dun and Bradstreet, you can pull up the your report directly with them, and then on there, you'll go ahead and go to where it says company profile, and then right here where this arrow is, this is the classification of the business. This is the SIC code. You can change it on here. You can add the new industry that you want, right? If I am changing the classification with, let's say, because some states, they don't necessarily have a reclassification in terms of the NAICS code listed. What they have is the line of work that they do. So let me give you a real world example. This right here comes directly from Washington State. It's like one of the only states that I can find that actually does this. Is nature of business is what they refer to it. So nature of business is construction. So let's say if I know construction is considered high risk, I may want to tell my client, hey, you may want to classify yourself inside of the area of business management or general management.